Thursday. May the 4th be with you. Hi, kitty cat. And it's podcast number 550.
I'm a Star Trek guy. I'm a Trekkie.
A Trekkie as opposed to a Star Wars.
I like stars, but I'm a Trekkie.
There was nothing else before it.
I was listening this morning. You're a huge Star
Trek
as
a kid, because I was born
you're of that age, huh?
Because I was born in 78, and that's really when the first one came out in 77.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying the first three, which were 3, 4, 5. But I mean, I remember as a kid collecting all the toys. I remember going to Lionel Playworld and getting the big swords and the lightsabers and stuff like that.
Well,
absolutely. They had some great toys back in
1975 or 76. We went to Hilton Head every year. And right by the big, what do you call it? You see on the golf thing, the lighthouse.
Yeah.
Was a little store.
Red and white one, yeah.
And that's the first place I ever saw the new X-Men, and I bought the new X-Men, and then it became like a big collector's item, but I'd never heard it before. And they had a little book section of science fiction books, and it was this book called Star Wars. And on the front of it was a Mark Hamill type guy with the lightsaber, and I remember reading the synopsis of it, and it says, soon to be a major motion picture. And I thought at the time, science fiction doesn't sell, and nobody goes to these things anymore.
This is the 50s, the Blob.
Yeah, and, this is going to be a major flop, is what I thought.
Well, that's why George Lucas had the rights. No one wanted to buy them from. They're like, I'm not going to.
And I'm thinking, this is going to be a huge flop, and then 2 years later, it's
unbelievable.
That's who I named the cat after.
Yeah. By the way, that's Pete Davis, sidekick producer and sports raconteur extraordinaire. I assume the Holy Crap at Sports tomorrow.
Yes.
And I saw you did one, I think, yesterday.
As the sun came up yesterday.
Yes, thank you. And, of course, the mechanical mangler Philander at the controls here, Del Condo Flaundo. And, again, podcast number 550. And speaking of Star Wars... apparently Darth Vader has a right-wing billionaire cousin. His name is Tax E. Vader. Oh, sorry. Where do Gungans store their... Please, I'm trying to entertain here. Where do Gungans store their fruit preserves? In jar jars. I don't even know what that means. What's the internal temperature of Tauntaun? Lukewarm. Why did episodes 4, 5, and 6 come out before 1, 2, and 3? Because in charge of directing, Yoda was. That's sort of Yoda. How does Darth Vader like his toast? On the dark side. Oh, thank you. Have you ever tried the gluten-free Wookiee treats? No, but I heard they're a little chewy. Oh, sorry.
Jesus.
I'm sorry. May the 4th be with you. Everybody, let me be the first one today to say.
I'm telling you right now, get that out of your system.
In fact, I heard a story, I think it was on the radio this morning on 106.3, about the origin of May the 4th be with you, and it was some ridiculous little silly thing that just, boom, exploded like as it would.
6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah. Also, a meme I've had for a moment here on my phone, and I want to mention aboard, since we were talking a couple days ago about fast foods and Chick-fil-A and stuff. Ladies, if he asks you how your day is going every day, supplies you with all your needs, wants God to be a central part of your relationship, prays for you when you walk away, he is not your man. He is a Chick-fil-A worker. Please stop holding up the line. Sorry.
What number are we on today?
550.
Why does the YouTube say 450?
Oops.
Well, they're lying.
There we go, because you just reminded me.
Is it 450 or 550?
550.
Yeah, well, there you are.
We're in a time warp.
All right, hold everything. A couple of quick thank yous. What's the matter? Oh, God, Wanga Chunga. Wow, that was a good one. Anyway, I got some thank yous and a quick thing. We just got some more Venmo things. What a very, very, very nice thing. I mentioned Ronald gave us some multitudinous of cheeseburgers the other day. Nicholas also got us with look at the total was a very nice several cheeseburgers, and the last 2 digits of the donation were 3 cents. A penny for our thoughts each, which I thought was very nice. And Denise, this portion of the Kimmer Show podcast sponsored by Denise, sent us an even bigger than her normal. I mean, Denise, you're just too sweet, sweetie. I can't tell you how grateful we are. Also, and I don't know, I don't get this. And I went to the Kimmer Media post office box. Kimmer Media post office box 1432 1432, Alpharetta, Georgia. 30009, and you can get all this information at thekimmershow.net. Anyway, if you want to help us out here, whatever. Everybody got a postcard, and here's the front of it says Aventine, Rome, Georgia. You know, it just says Aventine, Rome, Georgia. Not a picture, just like a logo and a thing. And then it's from, it says, hey guys, next time you visit Rome, come see these folks. And I don't know what it is. Is it a clothing store? Is it a auto repair? I mean, it's Aventine, so it's got to be. What would you think that'd be? Some kind of a fancy men's shop, maybe, or Aventine?
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, anyway, Aventine, thank you for your kind words. And there's no name. Brent.
This has been happening twice.
What's that?
My Pandora app, like that's the fourth time it's just popped on out of nowhere.
Now, what's a Pandora app?
It's a music app.
Like you order download, you mean, or what?
Yeah, but
I forgot to bring. I wanted to get Judy Collins' "Someday Soon" song on my thing. I forgot to bring it in. Anyway, and one more quick thank you here from a giant donation from our friend Michael in Powder Springs. And he says, before you pee down your leg, this is my quarterly support payment. Please make sure you divide by 3. I always divide by 3. And man, I miss the days of Kimco Records. Thanks, boys. From Mike in Powder Springs.
He just wrote a number on a piece of paper?
No, that was me, you idiot.
Oh. Why, he sent you a check?
Yes, of
Oh,
course.
well,
I
that's
just
very
brought
nice
in the
of him.
note to read the note on the air. What is it?
It's a restaurant.
Oh, it is? Oh, well,
It's
there
an
you are.
Italian restaurant.
Aventine.
Oh, I'm there then.
Oh, well, let's do it.
Italian.
In fact, how late do they play baseball in Rome? Do they start stop in July or something, or June because they have to go to the majors, or what? How long's minor league go? Don't they quit pretty early?
Yeah.
But anyway, have we ever now? And by the way, I gave you that letter from the federal people. Is that anything we need to think about?
Yeah, I know what happened.
Okay, but
we got enough money to cover it.
well, now do I need to write a check, or can you?
No,
do
no.
that?
Well,
you can do a thing.
I don't know. I'll look at it later.
All right. Well, but I need to take it home and put it in my file, unless you're going to do it and put it in your file. But I'll whatever. I'm just saying I got to take that. Okay.
So you want me to take your checkbook and take it?
No. I just didn't. Oh my
No,
gosh.
I'll look at it later. See if I can do it through the mail.
Okay. Or I'd be happy to write.
Or
We
do
have
it
plenty
through
of
the
time.
computer.
Let's
By the way, I
see.
noticed I sat there in my car today outside of a Wells Fargo. I had taken a photo of the bottom of my check because I can never remember the routing number and all that stuff. And I was thinking I had to deposit a check.
Yeah.
And of course, they don't give you out any slips anymore. Why would you
I just
do
ordered
that?
some. Yeah.
Well, you don't really need any more because I spent 15 minutes finding it. I finally found it, and I walked in there, and she goes, "All you need is your debit card. You put your debit card in there, and your entire thing shows up, and you tell them which one you want to deposit into, savings, check,
see, I don't
and they know
like
it right
any of
there.
that.
And you don't need that.
I
You don't need this anymore.
I don't like any of this. In fact,
It was so much easier than sitting there writing out the whole thing, and
Well, no question about it. However, I have when I went in, I needed deposit slips for Kimmer Media, my company with my name on it, and so but you're gonna order them in like batches of 200 or something. And I told them, I said, I'll never use 200 deposits, So anyway, so I've got a truckload of them. If you want some deposit slips for Kimmer Media, I've got a pant load.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
But just for the record, now. We're going to talk about Cinco de Mayo, which is as we record this podcast and go live. It's is tomorrow, mañana. But first of all, speaking of high tech and stuff like that, holy smokes! Guess who is in charge of the United States government's new presidential program to launch research groups and institutions all over the country, dozens of them, to discover and investigate and come to conclusions about artificial intelligence. 25 research institutes being set up, millions and millions of dollars to pay for research experts to come together, see what the hell's going on with artificial intelligence, make sure that Google and Facebook and YouTube and all the major social media people are involved in the whole thing about all stuff. Guess who's in charge of it? Vice President side piece. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, in charge of artificial intelligence for American institutions, Vice President Carmela, America's favorite celebrity escort. Vice President Shiftless is in charge. Little Miss Giggle, oh, you love yellow buses, don't you love yellow school buses in Ben Gray?
We're doomed.
Oh my God! She can't. Again, she didn't want to be the border czar. She said, "Well, I'll investigate the root causes. Root causes are they all want a better life. End of story. Thank you. Appreciate it." I mean, but she's lazy and shiftless. and a gigglehead. She never got a vote. Remember, he picked her because she was black and female. He narrowed the field where she was only one left. Oh, God. Anyway, she's in charge of artificial intelligence. I tell you, I'm just going to lose my mind. Oh, and speaking of this, I'm not making this up. I watched it at noon. We're doing a little later podcast than normal today. Flounder's got radio stuff to work he had to do. But anyway, so I'm watching the news feed. They now, at the University of Texas in Austin, I think, I can't remember, University of Texas, I believe, researchers now have wired up brain waves linked with artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence now can read your thoughts and give researchers a basic pattern of whether you're happy, sad, what you're thinking of, and they've been able to narrow down brain waves with artificial intelligence to basically read your thoughts.
No, thank you.
Excuse me? I mean, this is very preliminary, but they're doing it. They have artificial intelligence has now been created so clever that they can say, ooh, that brainwave over there. Oh, no, he's thinking about sex. Yep, that's it. I mean, oh, my God.
They've actually did you read in the New Yorker where they've broken down music? They know which part of the brain and which part of the brain for each note. That they can touch that part of the brain and you'll hear that note.
Yeah, I've mentioned before, but with my damn hearing, half my hearing's gone. I'm not stone deaf, but my hearing's all screwed up, and I got double ear rocks and everything. But I've told you there's a medical symptom which is called something or other, and there are certain musical notes and harmonies that make me shiver. I mean, actually make me just really, really feel right down to the bone. And it's because of those synapses in your brain that react that way to it. But again, this is things we don't know, and now artificial intelligence is beating us to. I don't like this. Reading our thoughts. Oh my God!
Why did the Mexican keep a wheel of cheddar in his truck?
Wheel of cheddar because he's going to see the cheese.
In queso emergencies.
In case of emergencies.
Queso.
Oh my God. Queso emergencies. Mexican word of the day: body wash.
Body wash.
Body wash. I can't go to the cantina tonight because nobody washed my kids. Mexican word of the day: bishop. Bishop. The other day, my ruca fell down the stairs. I had to pick the bishop.
What book do Mexican students read in English class?
Oh, I don't know.
Tequila Mockingbird.
Mockingbird, thank you. By the way, Pete, have you ever read that book?
No,
Pete?
I have not.
Have you ever seen the movie
No,
with
I
Gregory
have
Peck?
not.
Dear God, man.
And nor will I.
Could you not read the book and see the movie, mister?
No.
God almighty. Mexican word of the day: Lysol. Lysol. I need a new girlfriend. Because mine lice all the time. What do you call a Mexican drowning in mayonnaise? Cinco de Mayo. Oh, sorry. I got maybe one more.
Mexican maid announced to her boss and wife, I'm quitting. Why? We love you. She goes, because I am in the family way. And the wife was surprised and shocked. She says, is it your husband, your son? I mean, what are we talking about here? And the wife was aghast. The maid says, well, I go to the library to clean it, and your husband say, you are in the way. I go to the living room to clean, and your son say, you are in my way.
In the way,
so I'm in the family way, and I quit.
The family way. What do you get when you cross a Mexican and an Iranian? Oil of Olay. Oh, sorry, that was very bad. And
All
one
right.
more.
Why couldn't the Mexican archer use his bow?
I don't know.
He didn't. Habanero.
Habanero, yeah. Mexican and black jokes are pretty much the same, Once you heard Juan, you've heard Jamal. By the way, I cannot read that one, nor can you, but look at that joke and tell me if that's
What do you call a Mexican?
No, don't read the punchline. That would be bad. You only read it once.
What's a Mexican's favorite sport?
Cross country.
Cross country.
Just joking.
I hate tacos.
Yeah.
Said no one ever.
Oh my God. By the way, I was watching video. Oh, I got to find my little phone thing. Hold on here. And yeah, here we go. I was watching a video of all the people lined up at Brownsville, Texas, and the border. I mean, they're just, as far as you can see, they have double and triple lines, and they say, okay, you 100 come forward, you 100 come forward. And I was thinking to myself, oh my God, what a great joke would be if we had a Republican president again, or someone like Trump, who, oh, and by the way, the reason I mention is because they're bringing President Crime Family. President White Trash is hiring 1,500 new border patrolmen. Well, the Babylon Bee makes a point. President Judge Wapnerzon is deploying 1,500 troops at the border to help register new voters. I mean, it's exactly what it amounts to. Wouldn't it be great if we had a president who said, okay, welcome to America. Here's your little packet. There's a little thing of toothbrush and toothpaste in there, some deodorant, a pack of gum, and just get on the bus right here. I'll get on the buses, and the buses go right back to Mexico. And here you are. You're back in. I mean, just take them right back. I mean, and they say we have a secure border. All they're doing is saying anybody who comes here, you're going to be a refugee, and so you're welcome. Yeah. So, what's the point anyway? But I thought that it was pretty funny. Oh, by the way, sorry.
And by the way, they're taking away other minorities' jobs.
Well, yeah.
So don't let them lie to you and say it's not happening, because it is happening.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true. Hold on a second. I got one more thing here. A couple of other Babylon Bee headlines I thought were kind of amusing while I'm at it. That was a Babylon Bee about the border thing. Nashville shooter manifesto placed in secure crate alongside motive for Vegas shooting, Epstein client list, and the Ark of the Covenant. Parents who raise their kids on Disney movies about rebelling against parents, not sure why kids are rebelling against their parents. They say something. Anyway, just for the record. Now, Carmela, barbecue president, borderline, it's a trap. Mexican jokes were the day. Boy, we're moving along, boys. We're moving along. What a country.
Speaking of Star Wars, it's a trap.
Sorry. I mean, really, wouldn't it be hysterical? Here's your little packet, we can sign your form. You want to be an American one day, great. And put them on a bus and drive them right back across the border. I mean, it would be the end of it. It would be over. As soon as our friends say, wait a minute, and by the way, where do they eat? Where do they go to the bathroom? Where do they change their I mean, they're in lines for days. I mean, as far as you can see. Double and triple lines, and then someone says, okay, next 100, please. And a whole group, and the other people stand there, and the next group, it's the damnedest thing you ever saw. How'd you like to live in Brownsville, Texas?
No, thank you.
God, holy. Anyway, a rather amusing thing with Flounder the other day. One of these days, since I lost Jack the Good Boy, I've had a little more free time, although I'm still going to the stable quite a bit. But and so I've decided I have very few bucket list things left in the world that I can do. But one of them is I want to shoot my age on the golf course one of these days. And I keep threatening
very doable.
Flounder and that we'll get out there one of these days. So I've been trying to hit balls once in a while. And the other day I went out and did balls, and Flounder was going to try to meet me out there, but he got held up with car stuff. Life in a way. So I was there anyway. And so I was ready to leave, and I texted him, and Flounder texted me, and he said, gee, I'm sorry I couldn't make it today. How'd you hit him? The Kimmer. Crappy at first, like always, and then ended great. Idiot. Flounder. That's what she said.
Typical.
Which is, started off really crappy, but it ended great. Maybe for you,
I guess
Mr.
it's usually the opposite, isn't it?
Yeah, it could be possible. Yeah. I was just thinking about the last 19 years. Well,
Kimmer's sexual innuendo brought to you by Atlanta Custom Closets. That's right, closetpro.net. Call 404-255-0589. For Atlanta Custom Closets, Mother's Day is around the corner, and she loves
That's
closets.
Right.
When is it?
I think the 14th or whatever that. Yeah, isn't that right?
Not this weekend. Next
a week from this.
And isn't this Kentucky Derby Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday, Kentucky Derby. Yeah. And that famous trainer's been kicked out. He's still on probation or something.
Is he?
Blammert or Baffert, I think.
Baffert, I think.
Something like that. Anyway, Atlanta Custom Closets, great people. By the way, Pete, I mentioned the other day. You said you don't get these. I mentioned I've been getting these weird requests for friending on Facebook, and I don't understand. Two more. Listen to this and tell me if this sounds weird. It's from it says, "Hello there. I came across your profile and I like what you posted and shared, so hopefully you don't mind us being friends by sending me a request or direct message." Just out of the blue. One more. Check this out. From Linda. "Are you okay? I have read and seen your profile. Impressive. By the way, I don't have a profile. I don't even know if I have a profile. I've never put anything on I don't even know what a profile is. If I go into my Facebook page, there can't be anything on it because I've never put anything in there. Anyway.
Linda, you two-timing bitch. You
Linda.
said that to me.
Are you okay? I have read and seen your profile. Impressive. This message is actually to express my desire to be one of your friends. Can we be friends? If yes, would you mind sending me a friend request, as I don't want to send you a friend request without your permission. I hope we can get along sometimes. Please add me and let's be honest friends. God bless you. I mean, it's obviously a robot, but for what purpose?
It's either a robot or a Ukrainian.
Well, to look for a donation. I mean,
no, she wants out of Ukraine.
But to what? I mean, what does it mean to be my friend on Facebook? Means nothing. It doesn't mean to get anything.
It's a scam to get you and maybe get money out of you some way, somehow.
But what a long shot that somebody making grammatically and syntaxically incorrect comments.
Millions of those. It's like the old thing. You ask 20 women you want to go out back,
yes.
Ones will say yes.
Okay, well, the next 20 ladies would enter and sign in, please. Thank you. Did I ever tell you about the chicks? God, when I was single, and back when I was doing the afternoon show, whatever, and I was I remember it was Kathy Fishman was doing her afternoon show, and I was getting stood up at Houston's in Buckhead, and so I called her on the air. And we were talking about how I got stood up, and so people started showing up. But I pulled a stunt one time on this day. I made a bet with some guys I went to Houston's with, and there was a table of three really good-looking young, like 20-something young girls at this table, just the three of them together. And so I made a bet. I forgot who that was there. It wasn't you. It might have been Wayne. I can't remember. Anyway, it was somebody I knew. And I said, I'll bet you we can go over there and meet those girls and have dinner with those girls. And so I actually went over to the table. It isn't back. I wasn't back before I looked like this, by the way, just for the record. So, I mean, this would be freaky if I walked to your table now. Run. I mean, we all know that. So anyway, back when I wasn't quite like this, I walked over and I said, I just bet my buddy $50 that I could come over here and you girls would welcome me to your table, would have some drinks. And I said, and I'll pay for your meal. And they said, yeah, come on over and sit. And so I said, I'm drinking with these girls and we're talking and chatting. And I finally brought them over to stuff and ended up paying for the meal. But again, and one of them, by the way, was the daughter, the family name of a very famous Georgia corporation of a service industry.
Her last name was Power?
Power.
Georgia Power.
Georgia Power right there. Anyway, I don't know why I brought that. That's stupid. That was back in the day. Let's see.
That was a story I'll never forget.
By the way, we actually, there's a million things to talk about. That shooting in Atlanta and the video coverage on the Midtown thing and stuff like that. A lot to talk about that. Also, the Navy's now gone to hell. The Navy, honestly, my head's exploding. We got a billion things to talk about that as well. Also, and there's a whistleblower, apparently President Joseph Nostra, when he was vice president, there's evidence that he actually was on the take from a foreign power, and there's supposedly a document.
They won't care.
Well, it'll never make it. Anyway,
where did they
we'll
catch,
talk about it.
Where did they catch that sumbitch, by the way? Yesterday.
Where, right now?
Right next to the 680 building, right next to Dickey
at,
Broadcasting
the bar,
Buildings.
so
you know where the Sports and Social is? In the Battery? So it was one street over from the Battery.
Yeah, it was right next to
What was he doing there, do they think?
I'm not sure.
You know, I don't know whether he was.
I'm not sure.
Whether he was he was hiding, or maybe somebody saw him. I think an off-duty cop saw him and started calling people.
Was he from? Is he from here? What's the story? I haven't seen much about it today.
Well, he was in the Coast Guard, and I guess we'll talk about it right now as long as we're at it. He was in the Coast Guard. And he served 4.5 years in the Coast Guard, and he was just discharged a couple of months ago. You don't sign up for 4.5 years. You sign up for 3 or 6. I mean, there's no such thing as 4.5 years. So they kicked him out of the Coast Guard or discharged him, I assume, somewhat other than honorable discharge. Maybe probably it sounded like it was a medical discharge, because he was at the center with his mother, as I understand, to get drugs. And he wanted an Adderall or something, and they wouldn't give it to him, so he went nuts. So clearly this was a case of mental
drugs.
something. So
They had him on some kind of drugs.
And now they're wondering whether the vaccine might. I mean,
off his
who
meds.
knows? But it was again, it's a drug/mental.
And that's why he
issue.
was at the hospital. He wanted drugs.
Right.
And he got mad.
His mother's blaming the VA. And again, I'm not the final source on this, but his mother, I even saw the transcript of it. The mother is blaming the VA, saying they wouldn't give him the proper drugs. He was misdiagnosed or mismedicated or something. So she's saying the VA is responsible for my son going crazy and killing that one person and shooting the others.
The photo that gets me is one where he's in the elevator and there's a black woman in front of him. And I'm thinking, hopefully she wasn't shot.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, if I'm her, and I'm thinking that guy was behind me with the intent to kill people and he did not shoot me, you got to think, wow.
God's
wow.
For whatever. Yeah. Well, look, remember all the cases. What's the guy's name? Brian, who was the courthouse shooter.
Brian Nichols, yeah.
Nichols, yeah.
That was when we were up at Falcons Camp at Furman, and all of a sudden, everybody's phone started going off.
Yeah.
That day. Yeah.
By the way, the coverage is, the Al Jazeera Constitution,
Jeez Louise.
almost the entire paper is on that event. Although they're really, I'm a little
it's the
offended by the way they're
anti-gun
doing.
thing, yeah.
Well, we don't have to live like this. What do you mean you don't have to live like this? What are you talking? What the hell
move
does
out
that
of
even
Atlanta.
mean?
Move out of the big
For God's
cities.
sakes. I mean, I don't know what that means. Surge of mass killings put U.S. on the map. Active shooter witnesses share harrowing accounts. Gunman on loose as city left in shock. Democrats call for more gun regulations. GOP largely silent. I mean, on and on and on.
Take the top 5 cities in this country of shooting, take it out, and we're like 140th in the world.
Right, exactly. By the way,
take Atlanta, Chicago, Baltimore, Detroit, L.A. and out.
Yeah. What the hell did I write down? 4.5 hours not normal. I have no idea what that means.
Oh, wait a minute. Well, you're having a rough night.
4.5 hours not normal. And it was about this shooting that they caught him. I guess they caught him in that period.
No, it took longer than that to catch him.
What the hell? Why did I write that down?
I saw the map yesterday. They literally had the entire east side of Atlanta shut down.
Oh, everything.
And he was nowhere near there.
Yeah. Well, the other, he hijacked a car, and then he could have gotten onto MARTA. I mean, that was the other. They shut down all the trains, afraid that he was going to be, take off to Cobb County. Well, he ended up in Cobb County by the ballpark. Anyway, and reminded me of the. I remember another one of our mayoral crooks who went to prison, Bill Campbell, who was sitting on my final wife all the time. Anyway, he. Remember when he took over on the shooting at the penny stock trading thing? What do you call it? The day trader case where they shot up the guys up in Buckhead, not far from where we were. Yeah. Wayne, no offense, his wife was in that building working that day. Anyway, and so Mayor Scumbag Bill Campbell shows up, and he, of course, immediately takes control of the scene, trying to be, the big guy on the media. And he says, "Oh, I got this." He says, "Yes, we're looking for an Aerosmith van, a Ford Aerosmith van."
Yeah.
Aerosmith van, you Nimrod.
You know what this reminds me of? Remember the guy who shot up the court? And killed the judge and everything,
Brian
and they took
Nichols.
that woman?
Yeah.
That wasn't Brian Nichols. Was that his name?
Yeah.
Which one was Brian Nichols?
Yeah.
Was he the day trader or the guy who kidnapped the woman in the courtroom?
Brian
No, he was the one who kidnapped the woman in the courthouse.
That's Brian
and,
Nichols.
Yeah, went on the shooting.
Okay. And
The
then
other
he
thing-
disappeared and was up in, where is it, northeast?
Well, what he did was he stole a car in a parking garage and then just moved the car in the parking garage. So everybody thought he left and were looking for that car, and he kept the car there and then just took a bus, and that's why he was.
And she convinced him to turn himself in as a Christian, basically.
Well, now it's Mark Barton was the guy in the securities building in the Piedmont Road thing. That was Mark Barton. The other guy was what's the name of the mentioned? Brian Nichols, and that was 2005.
Wonder what ever happened. He's probably still
And by
in
the
prison.
way, the paper again lists every possible more than one shooting in the Atlanta area just to make sure. I mean, the whole newspaper is on this.
It's anti-gun tirade.
Absolutely, and by the way, while they're at it, and what amazes me is that of course they're totally anti-gun, anti-crime, everything else. The entire news section is all crime. Fulton County honors injured jail deputy got beaten by an inmate. 2 shot at apartment near Lenox Square. Police lumber with screws used in a murder by a Cobb County man beat a guy to death with lumber and screws in it. Man shot leaving Decatur barbershop. Patient assaults officer with hand sanitizer. Man gets life for killing wife of 55 years. Police arrest 12 during a raid at Morrow home. Woman and 5-year-old stabbed in Union City. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Wait a minute.
That's only one page.
Go back to the guy who put up with her crap for 55 years.
And now you gotta-
What put him over the edge?
If you had killed her 30 years ago, you'd have been out by now.
Right.
Oh,
so
now
what,
that's wrong.
Does it say what put him over the edge? He cooked the eggs
Admitted
wrong.
to shooting his wife. Aggravated assault, death of 80 years old at the time, admitted during the interview he shot his wife and expressed no remorse. Placed a pillow over her head and shot her. No, I'm sorry. We're not laughing. We are laughing, and it's very bad. He got fat. He put a pillow over his head and shot her and called the cops.
One more time. Just do that one more time.
He put a pillow over his head, shot her, and called the cops. He said, I just murdered her by 55 years?
You put up with it for 55 years. I want to know what the final straw was.
And again, this is wrong, ladies and gentlemen. This is
Call me stupid one more time.
I dare you.
I beseech ye to call me.
Oh, mercy. A couple things before we get to some more newsy stuff. Another couple of things here. Yeah, some fun videos in the news, making news. I don't know whether you saw it. Gesundheit der Flaundo. In California, there's a video of a very overweight woman stumbling out of her car, falling forward, trying to and stumbling on her hands and knees. And unbelievable, because her baby carriage with her baby in it is rolling down the street toward a busy intersection.
Yeah.
And the woman falls out of her car, stumbles, and goes like this, gets up and stumbles again, and the baby carriage is going right for the traffic when a guy comes out of nowhere and gets the baby carriage, and another person helps her. But, I mean, it scared the crap out of you. See her, and you're thinking, oh, my God, she's never going to get... And then the guy shows up. Oh, geez, my heart went nuts.
I mean, she's kind of an out-of-shape lady.
But she weighs 400 pounds.
But the thing is, when she fell the first time, it looks like she almost hurt herself a little bit.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
So she couldn't really get up the second time.
Oh, she was too big. She didn't have the muscle to get up all that weight.
Unfortunately, they had to, like, blur out.
Well, she's huge. Yeah.
It was the scene from The Untouchables where the baby carriage is going down the steps.
Like that. It was like
and he catches it.
Believe me, it felt. I mean, my heart was going like this. And talk about the other thing. Did you see in Virginia a cop on the side that pulled somebody over? Was at the car, near the car that he pulled over, coming forward at 129 miles an hour is a BMW Beamer M3 hot rod, driven by a 17-year-old kid, totally out of control, sideways 129 miles an hour. Wow. He hits the car where the cop was. The cop jumps between the car and the cop car. The kid car slams into the cop car, and the cop gets up and jumps over the fence to find out he's barely touched. Wow. And the kid and his friends in the car are also fine. And the moral of this story is the cop who investigated said, ladies and gentlemen, you can't give a hot rod to a 17-year-old kid. No. It's too much car for him. And the sheriff, I saw the sheriff interview. He said, I have 4 kids, and I promise you, when my kids are driving, they're in a car that my wife and I pick out because we don't want them driving a 400 horsepower hot rod at 17. They're going to do what they're going to do. I did. I mean, I'd never. When my parents, we had a 63 Buick Electric convertible, and that had a big motor in it for the time. It was probably 250 horse, but at the time, and man, we used to abuse the crap out of that car whenever my parents would let us drive it, my brother and me. Anyway, like, we're stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, I'm surprised we're not all dead.
I had a 67 Olds Delta 88. It was
a
about
huge car.
380 horsepower. And my
That
neighbor,
was an enormous, that Starfire engine or whatever?
my neighbor worked for Cummins Diesel, and he took the engine out and took it into work, and they rebored it and everything, and it came back well over 400.
Oh, those things were that Starfire or Starlight or something like that.
Yeah, it was
Starfire, I think.
Star something. Yeah, it was a hell of a car.
Oh my God. Anyways, and the car, I mean, it's coming coming at you. It's just unbelievable. 129 miles an hour. And I guess they knew that from the registry inside the car or whatever. That was another one. Another video. Did you see? And this little town in West Virginia, the principal at the school, it's a school, and the principal, I think elementary school, has a dumpster out back. And they've had problems before, and so they've decided to lock the dumpster, and the principal has tied down the dumpster. Well, the security camera video shows the principal coming out the back door of the school, goes to the dumpster, lifts up the lid, and a bear jumps out. Right? A bear, and the principal goes, ah!
The bear goes, ah!
And the bear's and they said that's why they closed the lid. He had tied down the lid, but the bear was, because he goes in there all the time, and the bear was clever enough to somehow pry it open and squeeze himself in there, and then he was trapped. And the principal basically let him out. But can you imagine opening the lid and the bear's jumping out right in front of you? Holy criminy bazongos.
Got in there and ate too much honey, Winnie the Pooh.
Well, I remember back, where I was raised as a kid, and back when I was retired, I had my summer place up in New England, and one of the famous restaurants we used to go all the time was in that part of western New England was anytime you have a dump or a garbage thing, you're going to have bears. I mean, they're
bears.
all over the place up there. And we used to see them all the time. I used to take my kids when we visiting stuff, and oh, there's a bear, Daddy, right out there, 50 yards from you, right there, just going through the garbage.
The friends have said they used to have, about 5 years ago, they had one that just shows up and would watch him eat on their patio. And you just sit there and watch him eat. Thinking,
Also, I haven't finished watching it yet, but I don't think either one of you guys watches the show Farmer Wants a Wife.
No, I do not. Even though that blonde's kind of hot, the chunky one.
Yeah, well,
she's hot.
and I can't. I DVR it because I can't watch it live. It's on at 9 o'clock, and I can't watch it live, so I DVR it and I watch a little bit of it later. When it's on Thursday or Wednesday nights or whatever. But it's so cringy to me that I can't watch. And then and the girls. I mean, how could you possibly think with 5 other women that you could meet a guy and spend 15 minutes a day with him or something and fall in love? And do it on camera, with TV cameras everywhere, and producers.
They do it to get famous for themselves.
Huh?
I mean, none of that shit's real. They do it. They do it for self-fame.
But then one of the guys still had 4 women. You're supposed to have 2 women to get down to. He still had 4, so he had to dump 2 of them last night apparently. And the ones you knew had no chance of being the magic one, even just by not even knowing much. And they're crying and they get consoled by the other girls. I feel so rejected. I said, well, what do you expect? I mean, my God, and I can't stop watching it. And I have a favorite. I have 2 favorites that I hope that something really does happen. But then I think, oh, you idiot, like just driving me freaking crazy.
Okay, I'm at the gas station this morning. This is how small a town I'm in. This blonde, beautiful blonde, dressed all in black, form-hugging outfit.
Oh my.
Long blonde hair, just drop dead gorgeous.
This is in the middle of nowhere in the Macon Mountains.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And at a gas station.
Yeah.
And she walks over to the gas monkey behind the screen. She goes, I just found this credit card. Someone forgot it over there in the pump. And I actually know who they are, but I can't be around today, so I'm going to leave it here with you, and I'm going to call them and tell them to come pick it up, that you have it. I'm thinking, this has never happened in Atlanta. Would never happen in Atlanta.
What a nice thing.
And I'm sitting there, I'm looking at, hey, you ever ridden in a Porsche?
Do you like fast cars?
Does this smell like a puppy?
I just thought it's been a while. I think I mentioned the story. I'll bet you it's been 2 years since I pulled up at a stoplight, and pulled up next to me was a car full of women, young, like 20-something, 25, 30-year-old women. And the one in the riding shotgun next to me on my left, the one in that car riding shotgun, started flirting with me to rev. Let's we'll see what you got there, and revving it up, and just really being really, really, really flirty. It's been a couple of years, so it's when you go downhill, you go downhill fast.
Mark says the problem with no Tucker Carlson is you're watching Farmer Needs a Wife.
That's the other thing I mentioned. I'm noticing it every night now at 8. I keep
Timmer.
I watch Jesse Waters. generally, because I'm usually working on tomorrow's podcast or the thing later. And then at 8 o'clock, I'm all ticked off because I don't want to watch, news. I mean, I'm really ticked off about the whole thing. He apparently has been offered $100 million.
Yeah, it's kind of iffy. Yeah.
Have you heard any more about what?
It looks like a fly-by-night thing. I never heard of the company.
No. I mean, I think he obviously can do anything he wants to.
He needs to go on Joe Rogan, and him and Joe have their own company, and they do what they want.
Yeah.
They need to have Elon finance a new media conglomerate and have Joe Rogan and Tucker and folks like that go on there.
My first thoughts were either Elon Musk or Joe Rogan. I mean, those are or.
Well, I mean, I assume that's what everyone wants him to do is to go on to Joe Rogan. But again, Fox is still paying him.
I don't know.
If Fox is still paying him, that means he's still under his contract and he's under an NDA.
Well, he and Don Lemon both have the same celebrity lawyer to talk about how to either get out of this contract or enforce it or do something's up that it's not over yet. That it may be that if they're paying him, then he can't do anything other than what they tell him to do. He can't start working somewhere else. If they're still paying him. But again, I don't know how long that lasts.
That's the best of all possible worlds.
Yeah.
He keeps getting paid, but he's getting the next chapter ready to rock and roll.
And he's still in the news. I mean, they're still talking about him. So, I mean, he's got the best of possible situation.
And he's young. He's not like O'Reilly when they kicked him out because everyone's pretty much over him by that point anyway, even though his ratings were great.
Yeah. I know. Well, pretty cool. Let's see. Speaking of dating, did you have a dating app of
I do. I am so glad you asked.
I didn't know whether that was a true thing or not.
I saw a dating app the other day, and I realized this dating app is geared toward you.
Well, I'm very excited.
And let's see, it's
guys who are dead inside, or
basically, it's been a while. It's been a while.
19 years of you're dirty sort of riding on like that.
It's called My Special Dates, and here's the chick they have on the cover.
Oh
nice
my
blonde
God, she's
looking
gorgeous.
woman. And here's the
girl.
How old do you think she is?
Daughter.
How old do you think she is?
26.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Why would they gear that toward you then?
Because they want a sugar daddy and they think I have money.
Here's the selling line. The age gap is not important. Check yourself. It's called My Special Dates, and it's basically for women who want to meet older guys.
Well, you know what? In fact, this would be so cruel, though. You know that picture? I have pictures of me with Jack the Good Boy where I'm wearing a hat or something, and they're actually really good-looking pictures because it's with a horse, and they have the one with me and that cat with a horse and stuff. Yeah. And if I could post one like that, I guarantee you there'd be some young chickaroonies who would because it's a pretty cool picture, even though I'm obviously not a young man. But then when you finally meet, I mean, come on, it's obviously they're looking for sugar daddy. So those days are long gone. Last one got the sugar and the daddy and cleaned me out pretty freaking good. 19 years of stone. Well, other things in the news. Whistleblower. I hope this is true. We kind of mentioned it a few minutes ago. I hope this is true. Apparently there are subpoenas now, and some of the Republican members of Congress and the Senate are saying that the FBI and the Justice Department have a document in their possession which describes a criminal scheme involving former Vice President at the time, Joe Zanostra, and a foreign national relating on the exchange of money in return for decisions on foreign policy. Chuck Grassley and James Comer, these guys don't fool around. The document includes a precise description of how the alleged criminal scheme was employed as well as its purpose.
Comer?
He
does fool around. And he's crooked as the day is long.
No, not the FBI. No. The Senator Comer, who's running the Senate committee.
Never mind.
Apologize. Yeah, sorry.
Never
mind. Emily Latilla, ladies and gentlemen. The document is an FBI-generated FD 1023 form, which means it's in the system. There's a subpoena issued yesterday as we speak to follow legally protected disclosures as a whistleblower. Very serious allegations, and with the FBI botching politically charged investigations means congressional oversight. The American people need to know President Joe Biden sold out the United States when he was vice president, and they say they have a document. Well, let's see it. And now here's the danger. They made this point last night too. The White House could suddenly classify it. It's the FBI and the DOJ have the piece of paper. They have an act. Apparently, the guy who made this allegation has the document that was filed with the FBI. So now they had to put it in writing. So it's there. And now the subpoena says we want that document to take it before Congress and say, "Ha ha, we got you." And the White House could say, "No, that's classified," and then they couldn't get it.
Try.
I know. They're asking for it.
The people need to know if their president's a crook.
That's right. Well, I'm not a crook. Well, yes, you were actually. Not for
Not
money.
that
You
bad
were-
of a
You were a
one.
power crook. You're not as bad as we got going now.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, Nixon never took a bribe. He never took money
Never
for
know
anything.
of.
The Checkers speech, he had a little dog he named Checkers, and his wife wore a
coat.
cloth coat.
Cloth.
A cloth coat. Let's see. Anyway, the whistleblower thing, I believe it. Oh, let me ask you a weird question, just out of nowhere. In fact, excuse me. I'm so sorry. The other day, Borch was on. I listened to the Borch thing. He calls in Tuesday mornings on 106.3. Mm-hmm. As I call it on Friday mornings.
Great radio station.
It's a wonderful radio station. They got anything over there? Like weekends, maybe oldies? I can play oldies, midnight to 5. I'm just throw it out there. Don't no decisions. Just throw it out there. Anyway, so I'm listening to Borch.
I know a guy.
Yeah, I know a guy. I could, I'm free. I got the time. $10 an hour, $8 an hour, whatever
Hey,
you think.
shut up.
I'm just saying. All right.
Quit giving them ideas.
Paid $11 an hour. No, I was way wrong there. I was way off.
anyway.
So I said, let me ask you a question. Of all the Republican candidates and the people who are named as candidates, including DeSantis because he's not officially a candidate, if you had to vote today, who would you vote for?
DeSantis.
Okay. Borch said he'd vote for Vivek Ramaswamy.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
And I said the same thing. Oh, yeah, that's right. Now, let me ask you this. Now maybe you haven't heard him. I've seen a lot of interviews. Well, I've heard a lot of his interviews, and I have to say this: he's smart, he's quick.
Who is he?
He's clever. He's an entrepreneur, multi-millionaire businessman who invents businesses.
And
He's a thinker and a doer.
Entrepreneur.
Minority?
No, he's an American citizen, but he looks like he's from Pakistan or India or wherever, Ramaswamy's Indian,
Probably
right?
Indian.
Yeah.
Or Bangladesh.
I
don't know.
That's India, isn't it? Bangladesh.
No,
India.
no. Bangladesh is different than India. Bangladesh was East Pakistan. And then there was West Pakistan, which became Pakistan, and they became
Isn't that
Bangladesh.
funny? Yeah, that's right. Anyway, but clearly that's his nationality, I guess. But he's an American citizen. He was born in America. He's an American. Brilliant, loaded because he comes up with company. He's just smart as a whip, and he's clever, and he's also he makes common sense. You could take any issue and he'd say, no, that's not the way we're going to do it. We're going to do this. If you have a tranny thing, then have a tranny thing. You don't punish the boys for the girl. Just common sense. But the problem is he looks like he's 19 and he looks like he's a foreigner. And I was killing me. If he was 55 and looked like George Clooney or Brad Pitt, he'd win. I honestly listen to him. If he's on somewhere, listen to what he says. I'm telling you, you're going to be impressed with this kid. He's old enough.
How
he's got
old
to be
is he?
40-something.
He's the one
But
that
he
him
looks
and Don.
18.
He got Don Lemon fired because it was Lemon that was attacking him right before he got fired.
Well, again, but he never loses an argument. He's very, very smart, but he's smart in a common sense smart. Saying, no, that's not how you do it. But it makes sense.
He's a likable minority Ben Shapiro, even though Ben's a minority too. He's Jewish.
Well, being Jewish, but that's not really in a minority anymore.
Yeah, it is.
We
They're
call
less
Jews
than
being a minority?
2%.
Yeah, but
That's the very definition of a minority.
Well, but you think of a minority as a neglected class of people who
Didn't you see those ads that they're being picked on more than anybody?
I don't think of Jewish people that way. Jewish people run everything.
Excuse
they're
me?
the smartest
No,
people.
no,
They're
no,
the
no,
best
no.
students.
We retract that.
Come on, you're killing me. Why they're not oppressed?
Maybe
They're-
Hollywood,
they have
but
everything.
they don't run everything. Oh, Jesus.
Well, no.
That was a quick career.
I'm just saying, I don't feel sorry. Come on, you're killing me. They're most successful people I know.
They're
You ever
very
know? You ever
successful.
known? You ever known? Well, never mind.
Stop it.
I know. Stop talking.
Jay, stop talking. You know one thing I noticed?
What?
Remember a few years ago when we used to do Holy Crap in Sports.
Yeah.
We used to do that every day at 5:20.
Yeah.
And I would put these drops in from The Simpsons or whatever, blah, 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 all the time.
no.
And people either loved it or they hated it.
Yeah.
It was basically, there was no in between.
Yeah.
You loved it or hated it, but that's what I like to do
I
with
thought
my God.
everybody loved those. They were great.
Not everybody loved it.
Oh, that's
Not
they're
everybody
stupid.
loved it.
Anybody who didn't love those drop-ins was an idiot. Anyway,
to
go
meet
ahead.
some of those. But anyway,
Yeah.
my point being,
Yeah.
have you watched the YouTube of Ben Shapiro or Matt Walsh? Have you watched their shows on YouTube?
No.
I've seen them. I watch them regularly.
It's them in front of a microphone with a nice backdrop, an office, something like that. And they'll start talking, and every other sentence, it'll blurt away like Family Guy to either a cartoon or a TV clip or a movie clip talking about what they're talking about. And it could be like, blah, 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 like that, and it's back. And he doesn't
How
miss a
annoying
beat.
can that be?
Well, see, that's the same way people thought about
See,
me putting the
I
drops
agree
in.
because Rob Carson does that on Newsmax.
Yeah, everybody's doing it. Now, I'm thinking we were doing that 25 years ago.
But you weren't doing
But
it
it's
to be annoying.
I wasn't doing it all the time.
But it's not near as annoying from an audio perspective as it is a visual. Because
it makes you go, huh? What are you doing? What did you go off to there for a second? It is a little jarring, but you know what? It's not for us. It's for everyone under 40.
yeah, it's
That's
a
where it's
different
hidden because
generation.
It's the
It's
Family
TikTok.
Guy generation. You watch The Simpsons now, and it's like it's in slow motion compared to Family Guy. There may be one or two jokes every minute, whereas Family Guy, there's 2 or 3 jokes every 10 seconds. It's boom,
And-
boom,
and-
boom, boom, boom.
I still
And
love
it-
the old Family Guys. I can't believe the stuff they
And the
got away
scenes
with.
transition a lot
Maybe
more.
we should start playing more of their cuts.
Anyway, yeah, but things. Oh my God. Well,
We can do that, right? We can play. Yeah, okay.
Can we play Family Guy stuff? Well, maybe we'll get something.
Eventually.
Of how times have changed in the media and stuff. I forgot to mention this. We were talking about the Atlanta shooting. I mentioned to Pete when we were on the phone last night. Fox News covered the Atlanta shooting thing for hours. I mean, it was all wall to wall for a very long time. And I was watching it off and on. Police cars flying, the SWAT team is flying down through police tape and stuff, and people, just cop cars everywhere, and sirens and crime, just going nuts. And I was making a point to Pete. In my career, as I was a strict newsman for most of my career until I became a talk radio guy. But when I came to Atlanta in '72, I was a news guy, strictly a news guy. When I was in San Francisco, I was a news guy, the whole thing. For most of my career, and I was mentioning to Pete, man, if I had been, when I was back in my nukes, if I'd seen all those, I couldn't have waited to go down there. I said, man, this is unbelievable. I can't wait to get into that big mess and see what's going on down there. And as I'm watching last night, I'm thinking, oh, thank God I don't have to go down there and do anything anymore. I would no more. And by the way, they were going nuts. I mean, the problem with it started with CNN. When you have 24-hour news, you got to put something in there. So they started, and all of a sudden now it's like the Al Jazeera Constitution. They have no reporters or anything, so they had to put everything on the Atlanta story. The whole paper was all the Atlanta story. And the same thing with the news last night on Fox. And I thought, oh my God, I'm so glad I don't have to go down and cover that crap.
Wait a second.
Oh.
Hold on a second. All right. Let's look at this. All right, it's a front page. All right. Okay, they got 3 people, gunmen on the loose, and they're all AJC. That's good. They have 3 different reporters there. They got another guy, AJC. That's 4. So they had at least 5 that work for AJC. They still have a few people that work there to write.
Well, they don't have much.
Oh, by the way, Gwendolyn, who I'm afraid may be stalking this poor man.
Oh.
Vivek was born in the U.S. His parents immigrated from Vadakancheri, Palakkad, Kerala, India.
India, as we thought. Yeah, excellent.
She knows everything about this guy.
Well, Gwendolyn, thank you so much. She probably Googled him and found out what was going on there. So that's very nice. Anyway, thank you. Let's see now. The Navy. Oh Lord, have you been seeing this stuff? Should we even play any? Flower, do you have any interest in playing any sound of this guy if you can find it? If it's worth doing, I'm not even. I don't
Why
know.
is he even in the Navy? Drum him out.
The story, if you haven't heard, now again, I don't know whether I don't watch mainstream media. Do you have any idea? ABC, NBC, and all the rest of them are covering this story and things like this.
I have no idea.
I'll bet they're not. But the Navy got caught hiring for no money. They've enlisted an active duty Navy man who's a drag queen, yeoman second class, man. Joshua Kelly, who identifies himself as they, non-binary. He is the first appointee of the United States Navy's Digital Ambassador Program. His stage name is Harpy Daniels. Yeah.
Harpy.
He is an advocate for people who were oppressed for years in the service. He says he's a drag queen. He says being able to share my drag experience on all my off time with my fellow sailors has been a blessing. He says, thank you, Navy, for giving me the opportunity. I don't speak for the Navy, but simply sharing my experience in the Navy. Hoo-yah, let's go slay. The service evaluates what form the program designed to explore the digital environment to reach a wide range of potential candidates to join the Navy. They're going after drag queens. A couple of years ago, he was performing as Harpy in a crew morale-boosting lip-sync competition aboard the aircraft carrier USS Ronald Reagan. He's been doing drag for 10 years. He said it had no influence on me joining. It was the Navy. I feared they wouldn't influence me to stop doing drag. It's a passion, an art, and a way to express myself. And then he says there's so much high stress and intensity and so much low morale. He said, my performance on Ronald Reagan's aircraft carrier as a drag queen helped save someone's life. Quote, this person was gay and felt lost and alone, ready to jump ship.
It's a big ocean.
But after getting to view my performance...
No waiting.
But after getting my...
I mean, it's a big ocean, no waiting.
Getting to view my performance, they felt empowered to be themselves and see that our struggles and low morale are temporary. To attract the most talented and diverse workforce, the Navy continues to evaluate its compensation package and admission requirements and potential recruits through advertising and career events. You freaking... pansy. I saw that play last night. I saw one of the, Jesse or somebody played a commercial 10 years ago for the Navy. 10 years ago, commercials and TV commercials for the Navy showed SEALs, going through a surf, shooting somebody in the eyeball from 500 yards. And they showed Navy jet air guys bombing armed depots and stuff. I mean, waves crashing and saving people and all kinds of stuff. And now we're drag queens and using TikTok influencers to get drag queens to join the Navy? The guy who shot Osama bin Laden, O'Neill, he said, wait a minute. I said, how do you think Navy SEALs feel about this all of a sudden?
All the while China is training their youth to be soldiers.
Yeah, China is literally giving manhood lessons to children in schools.
All right, I was married to the Navy once.
Yeah.
This is like 1980s, San Diego.
Yeah.
And all her friends were gay men. I'm not kidding. It was more than half of the people I knew that she knew were gay. And we used to go out to dinner or bars or something, and they would talk about how they had to be in the closet. And they were afraid to go to bars, stuff like that, because the Navy every once in a while would monitor the bars. They kind of knew what was going on, but they didn't want to know.
Yeah.
But they had to be very careful. The fact that Harry...
Don't ask, don't tell back.
Well, it was even before that.
Before that.
Yeah. So I think it doesn't surprise me that there's so many gays in the Navy. What surprises me is the fact that they're so openly going after not just gay men. That's fine. Drag queens.
Well, they aren't going after gay men. They're going after drag queens and trannies. They're not going after, a gay guy is a gay guy. If you're a tranny, you're a fake.
That's how desperate they are. They can't get anybody to join.
I don't have a problem. If you're a gay guy, you're a gay guy. Fine. And everybody's happy and, have a great life. And you're fine. You're gay and happy and everybody's fine. So what? I really don't give it. I really just
I'm
don't
happy
care.
Gay even.
But if you're a tranny, then you're a fake. You're pretending. And he
mentally
goes
ill.
like this and talks like this.
Stereotypical.
It's an act. You're an actor. You're faking it. You don't have a vagina and you can't have a baby. I mean, there's a great meme. Look at this picture. It's a great picture. I think it's on Facebook. I posted it. I think I might have done it. And it's like from the 1950s, so like a Donna Reed or a June Allison or somebody, mommy with a little apron on in the kitchen making peanut butter sandwiches with her little beautiful daughter with her perfect haircut and her little bow on and everything. And they're in the kitchen. And a little 7-year-old girl with their beautiful mommy. And the little girl says, Mommy, I think I'm a boy. And mommy says, well, you're not. That's it. Well, you're not. End of story. Jeez. What the hell is going on here? I don't get it. Let's see. Oh, I'll tell you what's going on here. Here's another perfect example of what's going on here.
What's going on here?
What's going on here right now? In a Southern California restaurant, Rainbow Oaks in Fallbrook, California.
I've been to Fallbrook. High desert right there, baby.
Fallbrook, California.
North of San Diego.
At the Rainbow Oaks restaurant, every day at some point, let me find the thing here. They play the national anthem every day at noon at this Southern California restaurant. They've done it for more than 6 years. It's near San Diego, apparently not too far.
Well, not too. No, it's a long drive.
San Diego covered the story, so anyway, it's down here somewhere. When they played the national anthem, a bunch of the people in the diner got up, stood at attention, took off their hats if they were wearing them, and put their hands over their hearts and stood silently for the national anthem. In a viral video posted to TikTok, about a dozen people showed standing for the national anthem. One TikTok user says, by far the most dangerous situation I've ever been in. Hashtag illegal, get out, white people things afterwards. One person said the scene looked like one out of a horror movie. Serious question, is this real? Like people actually do this in real everyday life? As someone from the United Kingdom, it feels so dystopian. In Spain, we don't even hear the national anthem, let alone even freak me out if somebody stood up for it.
When's the last time you won a war?
People call the video scary, wild, and terrifying. The restaurant says it does it every day at noon, no matter what. And the other people were so offended and scared by it that it was a TikTok video.
Let me tell you about Fallbrook. Went up there with a friend of mine from San Diego. I wanted to meet my parents. I went up there and met his parents and everything, and had dinner and everything, all that.
Yeah.
And look across the street. He goes, look across the street. It's a suburban neighborhood.
Yeah.
And he goes, you know who lives there? I said, no, who lives there? And he goes, that is the head of the Ku Klux Klan west of the Mississippi.
In that little town?
That little town of Fallbrook. Yeah.
No,
it was like Marietta type.
Probably felt safe. I love it. Have you heard the latest on Tucker? We talked about a minute ago about Tucker. In fact, there's sound of this somewhere. I don't know if it's worth finding or not. But there's what the left is calling a scandal, and what people on the right are calling, just something that's rather amusing. According to the New York Times, they've released the text that led to Tucker Carlson getting fired because of white men fighting comment. Consider most of the text, this writer says on what do you call it? Not Google. Twitter. Text is trying to humanize political enemies who have targeted his house and family for harassment. Here's for the text released by Tucker Carlson. A couple of weeks ago, I was watching video of people fighting on the streets in Washington. Again, Tucker speaking. A group of Trump guys surrounded an Antifa kid and started pounding the living shit out of him. It was 3 against 1 at least. Jumping a guy like that is dishonorable, obviously. It's not how white men fight. Yet suddenly I found myself rooting for the mob against the man, hoping they'd hit him harder and kill him. I really wanted them to hurt the kid. I could taste it. Then somewhere deep in my brain, an alarm went off. This isn't good for me. I'm becoming something I don't want to be. The Antifa creep is a human being. Much as I despise what he says and does, much as I'm sure I'd hate him personally if I knew him, I shouldn't gloat over his suffering. I should be bothered by it. I should remember that somewhere somebody probably loves this kid and would be crushed if he was killed. If I don't care about those things, if I reduce people to their politics, how am I better than he is? That's what he said. Now, here we go. A breaking news reaction. A text message sent by Tucker Carlson that set off a panic at Fox, showing him privately sharing his private inflammatory views about violence and race. Apparently, the text about rooting for an Antifa kid to get beaten to death finally showed Fox higher-ups their biggest star was an open racist all along. Fox News paid $750 million to Dominion, in part because it didn't want people to know about this text message, and now it's in the New York Times. Tough break. Fox News leaking to the left-wing New York Times to smear Tucker Carlson isn't just an attack on Tucker, this from Donald Trump Jr., it's an attack on all of his fans and conservatives everywhere. Miranda Devine, I love her, the Post. Some scandal. These outtakes are hilarious and will make just people like Tucker even more. Do these wankers have no sense of humor at all? And there's a whole bunch of these sort of behind-the-scenes outtakes of Tucker. He was just, he was saying so much. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Screw it. We'll do it live. We'll do it live.
Oh God, and even Trump with the guy, the NBC guy that he was saying, no, women love it when you're going to rub the, so and so. It's stupid. It's just talking. But Tucker was actually making sense. He was, and he's a cerebral, literate sort of a fellow anyway, and he can get a little highbrow real easily.
Odd fella. Yeah.
And so this is not unusual or scandalous. I mean, it's unbelievable.
They're making something out of nothing because they got nothing else, but they have to get clickbait.
If you look, as I was coming in this morning here, I think the Dow Jones was down like 500 points or something.
What's today? What's happening today?
Well, banker stuff. The
banks are failing.
Yeah. And now they're saying, well, we're going to raise interest rates again. I mean, it's just, we're
Glenn Beck's been talking about the fact we're going to wait, and they say they're going to do it on a Friday afternoon, and all of a sudden the big ones are going to start not doing this and doing that. They're going to have to nationalize
the banking system more than it is now because...
And they're going to know every single thing you spend your money on.
Well, that's how they go to digital currency. From now, you're not going to have cash. You don't need cash anymore. The machines will you'll have a little card or something, and they'll.
If I needed my local newspaper, I had to put 4 quarters in that little box to pull it out today.
I know, that's not right.
So I get my list of methamphetamine arrests.
Oh, mercy. Coming up, we'll talk about the new entries to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
None of them belong.
We'll talk
None
about
of them.
Also, have you seen Patrick Mahomes' brother's charge and the video?
Well, the thing is, why should we care?
I know, but again, because of the name. Again, it's like, if Bob Hope robbed a bank, everybody says, oh my God, Bob Hope robbed a bank. But, Billy Schnark robbed a bank.
But you're not responsible for your stupid brother.
It's the media. Again, it's the name. It doesn't matter who it is.
Poor
Patrick. By the way, the worst way to say this, incidentally, is for when the reporters will say, the brother of Patrick Mahomes has been arrested for molesting a woman.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Instead of saying Patrick Mahomes' brother has been arrested, they say the brother of Patrick Mahomes has been arrested for. And if you only hear Patrick Mahomes has been arrested, you think he got arrested. And because the reporters are lazy and stupid and don't think of anything because nobody else knows how to write anymore. No one does write anymore.
Something earlier, I didn't get a chance to look at it. Supposedly, Alabama has fired or suspended their baseball coach for betting on a game, a college baseball game. Did you hear about that?
No, I did not.
Yeah, I saw something earlier. I haven't had a chance to really look at it. Wow.
Oh, who's the big? Not Bally Sports. Who's the?
Say it.
Ball. It's a major media thing, and it's Ballpark.
Ballpark Franks.
Oh God, he just had to fire somebody on his staff who used the N-word in a rap song.
Never.
Barstool Sports fired one of his guys because he said the N. He was doing a rap song.
Was he singing along to it?
I don't know whether he was. He said the lyrics, either sang or said with or without. I don't know, but he said the N-word on Barstool Sports, and he got fired. And now, of course, people are saying, "Wait a minute, you can't do that. What are you talking about? Are you going woke now?
Is he quoting somebody?
I mean, what the hell?"
White people cannot say the word. I'm sorry, you just can't. You're going to get fired.
Anyway,
black people shouldn't be saying it.
Absolutely.
No one should be saying it. The damn word. We almost had it out of society, and who brought it back?
Yeah, I know. That's right. That's right. Also, would you go to a bionic bordello?
Excuse me.
What? They look like real girls.
Oh, the sex dolls.
The sex dolls?
Imagine someone else has been on that thing.
But first,
oh, no.
Let's imagine.
No, it's bad enough going to a real one.
Let's imagine something.
Have you bathed today?
This month? But let's talk about something else and using your imagination to find out whether you've always wanted a certain kind of car. You see one driving down the road and you think to yourself, man, I've always wanted that car. Well, now might be a time to find it and avoid the middleman to get what you've always wanted. The company is called SwapMyWhip.com. Whip, of course, being a colloquial phrase for a ride. SwapMyWhip.com, one of our longtime Kiver Show podcast sponsors. If you're looking for a ride, and you get a like-minded car owner just like you, and you make your own deal. If he's got the car you've always wanted for, now maybe you don't have his, but you know somebody who does, the one he'd always wanted, or he can take yours because he knows a friend who does. You see what I mean? No middlemen, no car salesmen, no dealerships. It's all on you. Do whatever you want. See what you like. Make your own situation with the like-minded car owners. And it's not just cars, obviously. Station wagons and SUVs and trucks, boats, jet skis, off-road vehicles, ATVs, probably go-karts, electric, probably a motorcycle. I mean, if it's a ride, it's a ride. Anyway, swapmywhip.com. And don't forget, if you use the coupon code Kimmer, Kimmer, it's 180 days of free premium listings on swapmywhip.com. And again, our grateful appreciation to all of our friends at swapmywhip.com and our many, many sponsors. And I don't know whether this is a thing or not, and I don't know.
Probably not.
Herschel Walker. They're still going after Herschel Walker. He's not running. He's out, right? He's not doing anything, right? Okay, well, they're still going after Herschel Walker. Apparently, all over social media, quote, and what legal experts say could be one of the most brazen and egregious campaign finance violations in memory and possible wire fraud, Herschel Walker solicited and received $535,000 from a donor to his private company. He had a secret billionaire wiring his company hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the billionaire thought the money was going to Herschel Walker's super PAC in politics. Former FBI agent, this is mean, reaction on Twitter. Former FBI agent Herschel Walker can now add wire fraud to his extensive resume.
Allegedly.
Wow. Herschel Walker appears not only to have asked a donor for $500,000 contribution to an allied super PAC, which is illegal, but he channeled it through a company he owns and didn't report it, which is illegal, and he might have even just kept the money for himself. Breaking, Herschel Walker is bad at criming as he was at running for Senate. On the other hand, I suppose battling all those werewolves does get expensive. Oh, that's cold. Remember the cartoon when Trump's got his arm around Herschel saying, if you hadn't started talking about all that UFO shit, you'd have been all right or something.
I got an old book of Peanuts cartoons, and Lucy decides to run Linus for school president. And he's blowing everybody away, mainly because Lucy's going around threatening everybody who doesn't vote for him, right? So he gets up there, and they're thinking Charlie Brown's going to be the vice president, and Lucy's going, he's going to do it. My little brother's going to be president. And Charlie Brown's going, and I'm going to be vice president. And then they show Linus up at the lectern, and Linus goes, I want to take my last speech here before you to talk about the Great Pumpkin. Of course, he blows the election.
That's like our vice president. By the way, the one last meme I thought was pretty funny from Twitter said, among the many shocking details in the story about Herschel Walker is that Herschel Walker uses an AOL email account. Which is
I have an
amazing.
AOL.
Well, yeah. There you are. Heidi Klum is...
I have two. I have two old AOL. I still use them. Why not? They're there.
I think you should. I'm totally in favor of that.
Even though the guy came once out and fixed my air conditioner.
Yeah.
When I told him my email, he just looked at me and just started laughing.
Yeah.
Don't laugh at me because I have an AOL.
Yeah, well, apparently that's still true. Heidi Klum and her daughter are in the social media news, even though they faced some backlash the last time they did this in sort of a modeling thing. Heidi Klum, the famous model, and her 18-year-old daughter, Lenny, L-E-N-I, maybe it's Lenny, teamed. By the way, when did Demi Moore become Demi Moore instead of Demi Moore?
1994.
Yeah, I thought that's what it was. April, I think. The pair shared photos announcing a campaign on their Instagram pages of Heidi Klum and her 18-year-old daughter. Heidi was wearing a blue bra and panty set with white lace, and Lenny had a white set with a cream pajama top over it. Yeah. Months earlier, they posed for an Intermisi campaign last fall, leading to a backlash about what was appropriate for a mother and daughter to pose in underwear for the general public.
How old's the daughter?
18.
So,
just turned 18.
Who cares?
Campaign. Yippee for our new intimacy official campaign, Heidi wrote on her Instagram page. If you see me and Lenny on billboards all over Germany, tag us. We'll share our favorites on our stories. It's all over social media. One writer wrote, genetics jackpot, legend and legend's daughter. However, others said, I would not be proud to show my daughter off in this way. I would feel embarrassed and sad. Another, first thing I think of when I want to pose in my intimates, my mom. It's 2023. She's a young woman, not a child. They're beautiful and very close, loving family. Would love to have had a beautiful, loving mother like her. But one person said, sexualizing your daughter the moment they turn legal is weird. Another, very disturbing. I like to think I'm progressive in these things, but mom and daughter in lingerie in the same video shoot is just a bit icky.
What's the problem?
I don't know. It's mothers and daughters. Hey, Mom, I got a live one. No, sorry.
That's old
And she's
joke.
85 up in the attic. The guy thinks he's picking up a woman at the bar. She's 30, and she's 40 years old. And she says,
Mother-daughter.
you ever done a mother-daughter? He says, oh, God, no, I'd love to. He goes home, and she says, hey, Mom. I mentioned Holy Crap, it's sports. I assume later tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Friday. Okay. Now, two things in sports. The Patrick Mahomes thing. For some reason, it's in the paper. It's all over social media. The Patrick Mahomes' brother, Jackson Mahomes, 22 years old, has been booked into jail on a charge of aggravated sexual battery. That's a pretty serious charge. You go into jail for it. 3 counts, aggravated sexual battery, 1 count of battery. He's being held on a $100,000 bond. His lawyer says, oh, this is nonsense, I saw the video. Right? I saw some video this morning. He was in a bar, and there's a good-looking woman kind of facing the surveillance camera, and a guy comes up from her side and behind her and grabs her and is obviously nuzzling her. And it's hard to see everything clearly because it's at a funny angle. But he's obviously grabbing her and kissing her or nuzzling her. And the video, or the audio that goes to video, the announcer is saying, and she was struggling to get away. I didn't see her struggling to get away. Now that doesn't mean she didn't want to get away. She was probably, if he was some stranger and just came up to this girl at a bar and was groping her, bad on you. I mean, but again, I don't know whether they knew each other or whether, I don't know much about it. But the video, look, he put his arms around her. He wasn't pawing her. He went up. He had his arms around her, and he was kind of like kissing her neck, maybe, or something. I couldn't really tell for a couple of seconds, and then walked away.
Let's reenact this. Flounder, get over here.
Anyway, so I'm thinking, okay, aggravated sexual battery for like $100,000 bail. Now, that may not have been all. I don't know. Civil lawsuit coming, maybe.
I'd be interested to know if she knew who he was.
Again, I don't. That's all I know. But I thought because his name is Mahomes, if his name was Patrick Furkatuka, nobody would give a crap because he fondled a woman in a bar. I mean, you're killing me here. So again, it's social media, celebrity. Somebody got the video and put it out. Now it's all over everywhere. Now let me ask you this: what do you think about? I can't find. Here we go. What do you think about? I've been watching hockey playoffs, and now that at 8:00 comes and there's no Tucker, I'm actually looking through things to watch, and the NHL playoffs are on, and I watched the Boston
There's a
Bruins
whole world
get beat.
out there, Kimber.
I know it's a whole different thing, and so I'm watching the playoffs, and I saw this commentator, the black guy, Subban, is it? PH Subban?
Didn't he retire a long time ago?
Yeah, no, a year ago, and they brought.
He wants to get the team here.
Yeah, and now he's a commentator on the hockey, it's ESPN or whatever. He's been hired as a commentator.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll get the story here. Well, now I saw him. In fact, I was listening to him. It was either last night or the night before. I like him. And by the way, he's a big, burly looking black guy, a lot of hair, and he wears turtlenecks. So he looks like he's like an afro and a fuzz thing. And I mean, he's a strange looking guy.
He looks like Link from the Mod Squad.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very unusual looking guy. I mean, you can't miss him. If you see him, you know who I'm talking about. PK Subban, one of the few superstar black hockey players. I mean, there were like 3 of them. Canadian. And he's smart, he's funny, he's clever, he's witty. He doesn't talk like a jock at all. I mean, he's intelligent, witty. I mean, I really like his commentary. Well, he's now in trouble because he was on the other night in the playoffs on ESPN, Florida Panthers and Toronto Maple Leafs. And he ignited a fire on social media when he believed, he explained what he believed the Maple Leafs would have to do after they dropped the first game 4-2. So they dropped the first game 4-2. So PK Subban says, well, maybe they need to pack a Lizzo-sized lunch. They just weren't prepared. They just weren't prepared, in my opinion. That's what he said, a Lizzo-sized lunch.
Wow.
She's enormous. She makes billions of dollars getting bigger and bigger.
And
I think she's trying to get bigger. She's deliberately saying, look at how gigantic I am, and I'm wearing these little teeny bikinis and stuff to
she's
make
wearing
you
thongs.
go nuts.
It's like 2 rubber bands around an egg.
Oh, my, talk about camel toe. I mean, this is like dinosaur
No,
toe.
it's
This
moose-
is like the T-Rex toe.
It's moose knuckle.
I mean, my God. So he said, pack a Lizzo-sized lunch
That's
because
funny.
you're going to need to get to work. And somebody said, oh, gross comment by PJ. Oh, he fat-shamed Lizzo. Typical Subban clown move. He's just horrible on ESPN. Subban took cheap shots all through his hockey career. Why did anyone think he'd be different when he retired?
I like the guy.
I
already.
love him. He's great. Anyway, I mean, but again, this is now another thing. The woke crowd, and because
ignore 'em.
But she revels in
Yes,
it.
she does.
It's not like she's got to be offended. And plus, I mean, she obviously eats a lot of food, so she probably does have an enormous lunch. I can't imagine it's all, jeans. Yeah, she has a salad and a couple of peas. You're freaking killing me. Now, another story which we talked about the Navy trying to appeal to trannies and drag queens, not appealing to gay people. They're appealing to trannies and drag queens, telling them you're safe in the modern Navy. We welcome you, trannies, or you have a home in the Navy. Is that the message you want? Anyway,
I was talking on the phone last night. I was flipping around yesterday on the phone, and the Sopranos bit came up.
yeah.
And I always watch them.
Yeah.
And it's the one where Vito has been
fat
caught.
guy. Yeah.
Vito's been caught in a homosexual relationship.
Yeah.
So they're trying to decide what to do with them.
Johnny Cakes.
So he's sitting there trying to ignore. Tony's trying to ignore the situation, read a magazine, and what's his face is behind him. Not
Silvio.
Silvio. And Silvio's just sitting there doing that.
Be
And
very
Tony-
careful, my friend.
He's not saying it. Not a Silvio. No, it's the other one. It's
Paulie?
No, the one. Paulie's one you just did.
Paul, yeah, I did. Paulie
Sylvia
Walker.
is the one from the E Street Band, from
Yeah,
Springsteen's
right,
band.
Sylvia,
Okay.
yeah.
So he's sitting behind Tony. He's not saying anything. And Tony's looking at the magazine. He goes, "What?" And he goes, "I don't know. I'm just telling you about this Vito
the
thing."
gay guy in the
I don't
construction
know."
crew.
And he goes, and Tony goes, "It's 2006. There's pillowbiters in the Navy."
Well, it was still, if I'm not
the funniest-
mistaken, I still think it's a court-martial offense to be caught waxing the dolphin in the shower in the Navy.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you saying,
Funny,
Si?
the conclusion is that remember when they find out Vito was giving oral pleasure in the car?
Yeah.
He was catching.
When they found that out, they were more pissed
was
off
over,
about
yeah.
that. They're
Well,
like,
his
"He was the
catcher.
catcher?"
The guy goes, "No, actually, it was the other way around." And they all like,
Whoa,
"Whoa, whoa, oh, hey!"
It's
I'll never forget. Tony grabs the catcher.
Well,
and goes,
you
"Here, why don't
gotta-
you get some sodas? Why don't you
you got to be consistent. You
Hey,
know.
go get yourself a sandwich, any kind you like.
Yeah, because Meadows' boyfriend was on the crew and they were going to kill him. And so, what are you gonna do? No, everything's fine. We'll take care of you.
Oh, what's his face?
Oh, my
Christopher.
God.
Christopher says, "No, it's gonna be okay. We'll get him some counseling."
Yeah, counseling. Well, these freaking liberals are at it again in New York City. This was a huge story on listening to the 106.3 guys on the way coming in here for the podcast. The Manhattan DA, who's another George Soros liberal guy in Manhattan, New York City. The DA is deciding whether to charge in a murder charge the 24-year-old Marine who stopped a homeless psychopath from going on his rant and rage at a subway platform in New York City. He was throwing garbage at passengers, threatening the passengers. He scares the crap out of people. He comes up and charges people, says, I'm going to kill you, stuff like that. So a Marine, a 24-year-old Marine, once a Marine, always a Marine, a passenger saying that the screaming guy was screaming aggressively. He was complaining and going crazy. So this Marine got him and put him in a chokehold. And some other passengers came over also to restrain him until the cops showed up to stop him from terrorizing the passengers on the subway. One witness says, gee, none of us who were there thought he was in danger of dying. We thought he just passed out or ran out of air because he died with a chokehold by the Marine. The Marine got taken into custody. He was released without charges, but now the DA is saying, well, this could be a murder case. There's a lot we don't know that happened here. I'm going to make a point about that in a second, but it reminds me also of the case where...
Texas?
No, the case where... in Minneapolis, we know about that too. In Minneapolis, one of the police officers in the George Floyd case, one of the police officers who held back bystanders from interfering with the arrest of George Floyd has now been found guilty and convicted of aiding and abetting manslaughter because he was holding the crowd back and did not stop the other cop. His crime was not stopping the other cop. He rejected a plea agreement, said, I'm going to go to trial in this because I didn't do anything except hold the crowd back. And the judge said, well, there's proof beyond a reasonable doubt that your actions were objectively unreasonable from the perspective of a reasonable police officer when viewed under the totality of the circumstance. Bullshit. So this cop is going to go to prison for holding back the crowd while the George Floyd thing was going on. I'm telling you,
it's insanity.
I can't believe it. And now the Marine thing. I thought, okay, first of all, he's a Marine. Thank you. Secondly, what about? Wouldn't you do something? I mean, I would be that guy. I'm that guy.
I wouldn't put him in a chokehold till I killed him.
Well,
but I definitely. What's wrong with walking by and throat punch quickly and just keep moving?
Yeah, I mean, there's a
so
lot
they
of
hit
things.
the ground.
I'm one of those guys who, if he was terrorizing other people, I would definitely step in.
Knock it off.
I would definitely step in. Now, let me say this: in the Marine Corps, at Parris Island, in like week 6. Well, this is back then. God knows what to do when I was 50 years ago. But anyway, but back
drag queen shows.
that thing. We are taught, at least back then, we were taught a bare hand hold move using your hand and a wrist, which is an automatic kill shot in 1 second. I can show you how to do it.
Come over, Flounder. I was going to show you something.
I won't because I mean, I have to. If you want, I will actually show you.
No,
and if you ever,
right.
well, in fact, it might come in handy one day.
Well, then bring him over here. Don't kill him.
But I'll show you. I don't want to do it on camera. But at the end of the show, I'll show you how to do it, and it's guaranteed. In fact, when we practice it, you have to practice it in a way that everybody was, ready to.
We'll come back Monday. One of us will be in a cast.
Yeah, like this, those little tubes in your mouth, like. God, sorry, I'm sorry. Anyway, but again, now I don't know what chokehold the thing I do is a move. It's not really a hold. It's not where you 15 minutes later kind of a deal. Right. But still, he it looks like they're gonna, the reason it's become a thing now is because the scumbag on the platform who had been arrested more than 40 times. 40 times arrested for this very stuff. And Black Lives Matter is now making it a federal case. It's all over the news now about this white Marine who murdered an innocent black man who was minding his own business on the platform, and Black Lives Matter is now on the case.
Don't go to New York City.
San Francisco just lost another major chain. Well, not Bergdorf Goodman, one of the other ones. The other major, the one you find at all the malls.
Neiman Marcus?
No, but the next one.
Mervin's.
Yeah, no, I can't. I can't believe I'm doing this. But
Dillard's.
This is like the second chain.
The May Company.
No, but it's one of those. I mean, they literally are closing all the stores. They say the customers aren't safe. The people who work there don't want to come to work because they have to have a security guard to go home in the parking lot. And the guys, they steal so much stuff they can't make any money. And they literally, not Bergdorf Goodman, but one like that, and they're gone. It's out. It's over. Mm-hmm. This is like the second or third major one just in San Francisco.
Well, you heard those people that disrupted the Texas legislature because they're doing the which is it, the anti-trans or the anti-gender mutilation
I think
for
it's
children?
A gender bill, but
so the trannies and the freaks and the pedophiles are out, and they literally exposed themselves in the upper chambers. They got arrested. The Travis County DA says, I'm not going to prosecute them. You know what? Because he agrees with them.
Yeah, that's right.
So once again, it's not rule of law anymore. It's rule of man. Well, yeah, there's a law against that, but I'm not going to prosecute them because I liked what they did.
Yeah, I know.
In Texas.
Yeah, in Texas. Well, certain parts of Texas, Austin and Houston, and are not the same as the Lone Prairie or whatever.
Well, they're getting too many people moving there from other places.
Yeah. But again, leave that stuff back in
They
California.
can't. They're stupid.
I mean, come on, people.
They're very educated people, but there's something wrong in their self-preservation part of their brain that keeps making them act like human locusts.
Yeah, I don't get it. I forgot to mention that we're talking about AI. Nordstrom, that's what it was. Nordstrom. You see, we have them in our mall at North Point. They're all over the place. Nordstrom says we can't make it. We got to leave. We're fleeing. And by the way, and now I love how, same thing with Los Angeles, and now you finally get some liberal city councilmen saying, we need to get more police out there on the street. I said, well, you asked for it. This is what you asked for. You knew this was going to happen. Who didn't know that when Black Lives Matter started saying defund the police and they made $60 million and spent it on themselves, that this would end up badly?
There's no self-preservation and there's no common sense left in them. They've had it educated out of them by the socialist teachers.
And again, it's because all of a sudden every 16-year-old and 17-year-old girl and boy in America says, we need to be more concerned about people who don't have any place to live. And we want to take care of the people. He has to live in a tent. Oh my God, we can't put him in jail for that. Because all kids want to help everybody and be friendly and happy with everybody. I mean, I was a liberal when I was 14, I'm sure. That poor guy. Mom and Dad say, well, no, you don't make fun of somebody just because he has less than you do. You're taught to do the right thing. I mean, we all felt that way. But this is not the same. People coming across the border. Oh, God. I mean, it's just...
Open up the mental institutions again. They don't have to be snake pits.
Almost all these cases of these horrible things happening are mental cases, drug overdose, and problems with mental issues. And the drugs because of the mental issues. So, I mean, those are linked, as close as you can get. Oh, my God. All right. A little showbiz thing. All right. Now, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Missy Elliott, never heard of her.
Who?
Missy Elliott.
Never heard of her.
Willie Nelson.
No.
Now, again, this is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Okay, hold on. Sheryl Crow.
She doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame.
Possible crossover, but again, it's
maybe in 10, 20 years.
Rock and Roll is a little different. Chaka Khan.
No.
Don Cornelius from Soul Train creator.
No.
George Michael.
No.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Hell no.
Kate Bush.
Yes.
Now, I know her name, but I don't know.
She was on Saturday Night Live a lot back in the 70s and 80s.
Other groups entering the hall listed includes The Spinners.
No.
Rage Against the Machine.
Maybe. What do you think, Flounder?
I hate them, but yeah, they are more... They're more...
a lot of influence.
Big?
A lot of influence.
Did they? All right. See, again, I'm not
They were
in
kind of like
generation.
that generation's Velvet Underground.
Yeah.
Very...
I missed all of that. I'm too old for all of that. So I'll take your word for it. DJ Kool Herc.
Who?
DJ Kool Herc.
Why don't they just make it the Music Hall of Fame and get this over with?
How about Link Ray?
Who?
L-I-N-K.
Oh, actually, I do know.
Ray. W-R-A-Y.
Okay,
Link Ray.
I know them. Okay.
Al Cooper with a K. Al Cooper.
A blues musician from the 50s, 60s, 70s.
Hall of Fame?
But he
Aren't
influenced
people supposed to
everybody.
heard of people?
Now, if you're into music, you know Al Cooper.
All right. And Bernie Taupin, who's Elton John's co-writer.
Taupin.
Yeah, Taupin, sorry.
Yeah, he belongs in.
Artists must have released their first commercial recording at least 25 years before becoming eligible. 8 of the 14 nominees are on the ballot for the first time. Well, anyway,
Did you see
I
where
just don't know any of these people.
Denny Lane, who was in the Moody Blues, and then he was on Paul McCartney and Wings, basically came out that they said, well, how? Because Paul McCartney's in individually, and he's in with his,
Right.
and he's
So is
in
Ringo.
individually as Paul McCartney and Wings. And someone said, well, shouldn't Wings, the band, be in? And Denny Lane, who was with it almost the entire time, said, no, we weren't a band. We were Paul's group.
Well,
We were not a band.
Well, yeah, it was Paul McCartney and Wings. It
Yeah.
wasn't Wings. Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. By the way, did I mention the AI thing? I was going to mention before. I'll do it now. IBM is no longer hiring people for a while, and not only that, they say that our new artificial intelligence apps are going to mean that we're going to replace about 8,000 jobs.
Yeah.
At IBM.
Yeah.
We're not talking janitors here.
That's right.
IBM, 8,000 jobs, AI, baby.
Yeah. Writing software. What do you need a human to do it?
And again, they say the biggest thing is going to be agriculture when they decide when you should water and when you should fertilize and how much it takes over there. Just run everything for you.
Somebody's got to
start
pick
the
it.
machines and
Somebody's got to pick it.
well, they'll probably start automated machines to go in and do the crops.
Some things is very hard to do that too.
I know.
I think it's amazing that they put together that machine that wraps around a pecan tree, shakes it, the pecans fall into this net.
yeah.
That's just astounds me.
I saw that one. I saw that once. And I thought it was fake.
Because I used to think they had to get up there and pick them.
Well, they did.
By the way, Villains Creep says the Spinners belong in. No, they don't. They're not rock and roll. They're rhythm
like
and blues,
a family kind of a
Motown
folk
type
thing almost, aren't
No,
they?
the Spinners were the 5 black guys who would spin around, do the
Oh,
OJs,
yeah,
and that's the
Motown.
Spinners.
That's
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
The OJs and stuff.
Now, Earth, Wind, and Fire, you can make an argument for.
Well,
Spinners,
because they were big, but they weren't still.
Spinners, you can make an argument for, but I'd say no.
I don't know. Anyway, whatever.
The stylistics, people like them.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Let's
Rubber
see.
Band Man.
Oh, how about I got a couple things.
got a couple
more
things?
here. The lady behind this whole thing is denying that this is actually a thing. But the tiny town of Woodville, Georgia, northeast Georgia, is known for neither is anybody. It's only 300 people live there. They're known for a staging area for their lumber.
Wait a minute. That's larger than the town I live in.
Well, there you are. The Macon Mountains. Anyway, 300 people live there. Woodville, Georgia, northeast Georgia, known for its lumber, and a woman who goes by the name of Unicole Unicron. That's her name. Has just bought a property including a 7-bedroom house. And in her, Lake Oconee News reported this. And in the property, she put speculation was purchased earlier this year by the California woman to be used as, quote, a sex robot delivery brothel. Think blow-up dolls and other such accoutrements or cyborg sex workers, according to one outlet. The times are a-changin'. Well, the property was going to become a bionic bordello. But Unicron, who uses gender-neutral pronouns, says, no, I tried to create this is true. A couple years ago, she tried to create, quote, a consensual brothel near Los Angeles where guests could have intimate relations with the world's first companion robots. The idea flopped, so now she wants to become a pop star cult leader with her own religion. And she's using the property she bought in Woodville as a physical space for her new Unicult religion. I'm just trying to create a sustainable community for my religion, and we wanted a physical space for us to exist. We're trying to figure out how to get it up and running. We want to do everything right by the city. They're dabbed as a dirty droid cult. But she says, I've never heard anything like it, said the mayor. Don't know if anybody else has. She bought the 20-acre property for almost $800,000. She says, I'm an outsider. I have autism, and I think differently than others. I know my presence here seems radical, but everyone has been open and kind. I can't say I feel ostracized at all.
She's not in Northeast Georgia. That's out I-20. That's out where my friend lives, near Eatonton in Lake Oconee.
Yeah. Well, that's not. Well, that's east.
Yeah, it's east.
Georgia. It's
That's
not
not
northeast.
That's not Northeast Georgia.
Well, it's East Georgia. Yeah. Well, according to.
It's out. It's in the Oconee National Forest.
Yeah. Anyway, she says no, she's not doing the sex robot. So that's.
What is it about that part of Georgia that the nutcases who want to start religions? Remember the one, the black guy who had the pyramids out there?
Wasn't also the Virgin Mary out there? Remember the Virgin
No,
Mary
that was
site?
Conyers. That was Conyers.
Oh, that's right. Well, that's East. That's East
But
Georgia.
remember the guy who was trying to do an African? They had pyramids out there
Yeah.
and everything, and
Right.
there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, yeah. Just a quickie thing here on a study by the health people, the United States health people say that loneliness poses as much of a health risk as smoking a dozen cigarettes every day. Half American adults say they've experienced being lonely. It's a feeling the body sends us when something we need for survival is missing. It seemed to me kind of hard to make that case about being able to survive by not being lonely. We're less engaged with worship houses, community organizations, even family members have broken apart. COVID-19, they did a study showed that Americans used to spend about an hour a day in person with friends, and now, that was a couple years ago, now you spend maybe 20 minutes a day with friends, if that.
You're on the phone.
It increases the risk of premature death by 30%, stroke and heart disease, depression, anxiety, dementia. Let's see. People who used to use social media for 2 hours a day are now reported feeling socially isolated from those who don't. Social media is driving the increase in loneliness. I'm telling you, it's these freaking... This is cigarettes. This is it. This is it.
This is it.
Now, I would just mention the other day, my final divorce was almost 20 years ago. And I've been alone ever since, in every way.
Someone said there's a thin line between being alone and being
alone.
able to eat when you want and get up when you want
and fart
go,
when you want.
Yeah.
And
That's a
have
fine
beer
line.
And have a little something there. And, hey, Flounder, what do you got on the truck? Yeah, so it's not all bad, but
No.
but I don't know. I mean, it's also things are going on that are a whole thing. There's happening with the whole thing. But I thought that was interesting. And all of a sudden now this business, and I'm telling you, it's this right here. This is response. It's like not Fred Flintstone. Who's the guy in Family Guy? I said
Peter Griffin.
beer, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems. It's the cell phone.
Hey, if you get lonely, you can go over to your little amphitheater you have up there.
Yeah.
Guess who's going to be there May 13th on a Saturday?
No, don't tell me.
It's and the tour is This Is It, his final tour. This is it. Kenny Loggins.
This is it. Yeah,
I'm
Caddyshack.
all right.
Yeah, Caddyshack.
He had a lot of great songs.
I'll be damned. Oh, he's a huge guy.
And he's still a young looking man.
In fact, I'll tell you, I asked Flounder, at least a year ago, to put his song of not Winnie the Pooh. What's it called?
Caddyshack?
No.
House on Pooh Corner.
Yeah, House of Pooh Corner. And Flounder did put it on my Magic Stick. The problem was there were two versions of it, and the one that you got was some hot musical jazz version. The version of Kenny Loggins singing House at Pooh Corner by himself, a cappella, and maybe his only guitar, is touching, is moving. It's a beautiful, beautiful story. And one of these days I'll bring see if we can find that
he's
version.
a good
But it's
musician.
the acapella version of House at Pooh Corner. It will just make you weep if you love children. A couple of things. Let's see. Have you mentioned Farmhouse Printing Co. yet?
I have not mentioned it.
Well,
You
why
want
don't
to
you do
mention
that
it
now?
right
Because
now?
then I want to talk about some texts that could get you in trouble.
That's right. It's farmhouseprintingco.com. It does all the Kimmer Show needs. Holy Crap at Sports, Shannon Burke, anything you need. They got laser engraving. They do shirts, hats, signs, any item you need printed, anything you need printed, they could do.
And quality work on cloth. I mean, shirts and blankets, hats, whatever you want. You can print anything, and they do a beautiful job.
Get a
That's
Kimmer Show
proof.
t-shirt. Oh, guess what?
Yeah.
Preston Holcomb, our good friend,
Yeah.
he's one of the drummers
Facebook friend, yeah.
for Blackberry Smoke.
Yeah.
They were in, I forget where they were. They were in Rome or somewhere, and they decided to take in a minor league ballpark game. And it's him and about 3 other members of the band. And he's sitting there and he's wearing a Holy Crap It's Sports T-shirt.
Oh, no kidding!
The coolest
we
thing.
got it. We have to go do that. We have to do that one before they stop playing. God, they go till I think they quit in like
Well,
July.
we might have some more opportunities here.
Well, I'm just saying that maybe we just stay a little late, then go across the street.
And do a little something with those black smoke people. I don't know. You got any,
Well, no,
any
we
hot
can do
babes over there? Maybe some groupies. Okay.
But anyway, farmhouseprintingco.com. You really check them out. They got great T-shirts and they can do anything you want.
Yeah.
Anything
Laser
you
and
want.
great. I mean, it's just fantastic stuff.
It's amazing.
Let's see. I thought this was fairly amusing. First of all, finally making some news again. I'll talk about woke stuff in New York State. The governor, Kathy Hochul, is so thrilled that they have banned gas stoves.
Yeah.
Remember when
Now,
that was a
for the
conspiracy theory?
record, this
Charles Schumer said, "We're not coming for your stove.
Yeah,
it's
yes,
Republicans."
you are. For new buildings, and it's an amazing situation. But basically, they are trying. They say gas stoves are dangerous. They pollute. Whatever. Okay. For the record, this is the fun thing about being my age. Even though I don't feel it, just the memory of things that happened. When I was growing up as a kid, when my father was a big shot at GE, the electric company, and our family, when he became general manager and was doing all the stuff, we became a GE electric home. I mean, they came in and put all electric. We had electric dishwasher and electric dryer and all the electric houses and all the electric stuff. And electric stove. So I had never, as a kid, seen a gas stove until I went to my poor neighbors' houses. The kids I used to play with at school, when I ever would go to their house. Again, this sounds. Forgive me for saying this, but our family kind of had more than a lot of other families did. And so when I go to play with my friend's house, and we were always taught to be humble and friendly and everything like that, I remember seeing flames come out of their oven. I thought, oh my God, do you cook on fire on your? I'd never seen such a thing, and it was because poor people couldn't afford electric devices.
Cook with fire.
And so, if I saw a gas stove, I thought, oh, that probably doesn't have any money. I mean, that's the way you were brought up. I know it's wrong. I'm saying that's the way I was brought up to think that only, the more wealthy families could afford electric things. And nowadays, I wouldn't cook on an electric stove. You couldn't pay me to cook electric. I love my gas stove.
I have an electric stove.
Oh, God, I had one down in Florida and hated it. But I love a gas stove because when I cook, I want to do exactly what I want.
Well, electric, it takes longer. To do it.
Plus you can't adjust it. It takes longer to adjust and to do it. I mean, it's just not good. And isn't it funny? It used to be, the gas people were for poor people, and now we're going to eliminate all use. And everybody, all the best cooks in the world use gas.
And even better, it was 5 or 10 years ago. The Chuck Schumers of the world will tell us. Remember all the buses that went by? Yeah. MARTA has run on natural gas. Natural gas is the clean, environmental friendly way. And now, just a few years later, they're telling us the exact opposite.
The clean energy.
Yeah.
Natural gas, the clean energy.
And now they're saying it's horrible.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, either something dreadful has happened or they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Well, there you are.
So why are we listening to them?
Well, Al Gore said, Ocasio Bambanga Stupidio said we had 12 years to live.
And he goes, I've been saying that for 30 years.
Yeah, 12.
Well, not only that, remember Greta Dumbshitberg, whatever her name is, she had that tweet that the world was going to be gone in 2023, so she had to delete it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the little Lundberg.
Yeah.
Where were we going? Yeah. Does anyone ever ask him where we're going?
Yeah, what were you talking about?
It's like George Carlin says, this place has been around for 5 billion years. It's going to shrug us off like a flea.
Yeah. I believe that, by the way. That's, Mother Nature.
I mean, we have some impact, but not near as much as they're claiming we are.
Yeah. A couple of unusual texts. When you ever send a kinky or sexy text to the wrong person?
Not the wrong person.
The wrong person.
No.
Like the 17-year-old girl who said, my parents are asleep, so I'll be sneaking out of the house over to your place and send it to her father by mistake. Things like that.
Where was that?
It happens all over the place. Here's one here. This came in yesterday at 10 p.m. Hey, baby, my husband just headed to work for his 10-hour shift, and I have the day off tomorrow, so head on over. I have several surprises for you. And the guy wrote back, wrong number. She said, I realized that after I didn't hear back in a few minutes. Sorry to make it part of my adultery. Another guy. I'll clean it up a little. Did you crap in the hallway? Wrong number. Listen, prick, I got your number from the guy in 4307. I know it was you. I don't live in an apartment. I have my own house. Wrong number. Bullshit. Don't lie to me, you bastard. I'm going to crap in front of your door and see how you like it. I had corn the other day and hope it's going to come all over the place. He says, you caught me. It was me. Poop away. One more. Hi, Principal Kane. I'm Isabella's mother. My daughter has recently become addicted to video games. Do you have any good suggestions? Call of Duty. He wasn't the principal. And my boyfriend has left for work, and I promptly received, hey, on my way over, you better be naked when I get there. And unfortunately, it was, the boyfriend left for work and was sent to the wrong person. Sorry. My mom texted me once right after I left saying, I want you inside me. It's been a while since I've been in there, Mom. On a New York text to your dad, wish you were here to kiss me at midnight. And sent, hey, could you bring the weed you mentioned? And he sent it to his mother, unfortunately. Anyway, these go on and on and on. Also, I saw this little social media thing. There are only, this is incredible to me. Do you remember the time when you experienced your first car sticker shock? When you hadn't bought looked for a shop for a new car in many years, and you went to. I remember the time. It was back in the 70s. I hadn't bought a car in several years, so I'd just gotten on the Marines. I was in college, so I wasn't shopping for a car. And a few years after I'd been working, it was about time for us to buy a car. I went to the shop, and I remember this is like 1973, 4, 5, somewhere in there. And I remember seeing an Oldsmobile for $30,000.
Wow.
I said, holy crap.
Yeah, that's too much for an Oldsmobile.
Well, check out, listen to this. Listen to this. Sorry, I hate people who say that. No, don't listen at all. Go away. There are only, as we speak, there are only 3 cars that you can buy that cost less than $20,000. There's only 3. They don't even make them anymore. And that's, the average price is way more than double that. J.P. Morgan estimates car prices are up 30% in the last year. Let's see. New and used cars pricier than ever. And, of course, gasoline prices, driving expenses, everything else. There are only 3 vehicles that cost less than $20,000. The Kia Rio Subcompact, 17.8. The Mitsubishi Mirage Hatchback, 17.3. And the Nissan Versa Sedan, 16.9. All 3 of these cars are small, teeny sedans, minimal cargo space, very good gas mileage. They all get about 35 miles a gallon. But, again, you don't get much for your money. Only 3 cars available to even buy.
Did you ever know somebody, an older person that fought World War II, was so upset that people were buying Japanese cars?
Oh, absolutely.
I remember that. Especially...
Prep school
you know who built the Zeros?
The Japanese Zero plane? Probably us. Mitsubishi.
Mitsubishi.
Did they? Yeah.
It was a Mitsubishi Zero.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. A couple of birthdays in the news, if we have any interest in that. Randy Travis, country singer, is 64 today. Anna Gasteyer is 56.
Funny woman.
She's now on the. Have you ever seen the TV show American Auto? It's one of the new ones. I saw one version, and it had Ted Danson, and it had the tall, skinny. Or not Ted Danson. No, a guy from Parks and Rec. No. The guy from Community. The guy from Community is the star of Animal. I beg your pardon.
Animal thing.
No,
that's not a good show.
Yeah, that's not a good show. American Auto, I think I saw once. And again, but both those shows, the Animal Show and the American Auto, are recycling all those NBC guys who were on all the other shows, like The Mayor that got canceled. Anyway, she was on Anna Gasteyer, 56. Yeah.
Actually, wasn't she in the Wanda and the Vision miniseries for Marvel? She played a witch. Is that her I'm thinking of?
I don't know. Erin Andrews, the sports reporter, ESPN and elsewhere, is 45. And the poor thing, she was one who was caught. A guy had put a camera in her hotel room with a keyhole camera, and took pictures of her. And then she saw them somehow on some kind of social media feed, and I remember her testifying that she said she called her father and said, "Daddy, I'm on TV naked." And she was crying hysterically. Can you imagine? I mean, and this was not some little bimbo who, bar girl that got caught sending naked pictures to her boyfriend. This is anyway.
Yeah,
and she said, "Daddy, I'm naked on TV."
It almost made me sad to look at it.
I know. I tell you, and the more you look, the more you feel bad about it, too, ladies and gentlemen. The hideous Pia Sedora. She was a little cutie.
What do you mean hideous?
She's wonderful in every way.
She's a spinner
She's
right
a cutie.
there.
She's a little teeny little cutie. Pia Sedora is 71 years old,
What?
my friend. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, 71, Pally. Remember the girl who played Erin on the Waltons, Mary McDonough, is 62. A little redhead. The hideous George Will, stick to baseball, George, 82 years old. And Will Arnett, I love this guy from Arrested Development.
Reese's
and,
peanut butter
everything
commercials.
else. Will Arnett is 53, and I think he's one of the
funny.
great comedian character actors.
In fact, he's doing is it a commercial or he's in another movie? He's in a movie that's coming out recently, but I can't remember what it is.
He's good. He's great. He's good. He's really. I mean, and by the way, Arrested Development. I only have a couple of mine. I wish I had saved all of them. That's just a
It's
great,
on Netflix.
Great. Yeah, I don't have that. I don't like to watch.
By
TV
the way,
on my
that show
phone.
that on Netflix, I don't know if you've seen it, Kunk on Earth. It's a British. She's pretending to be a BBC presenter, and she's doing a history of human civilization.
Yeah.
But it's the funniest damn thing. It's blasphemous at times, but it is so. The writing will just have you laughing.
Is it like a TV newscaster show?
Yeah, she's walking around from Greece to America, all over the world. And she's talking about
like
the
a
Romans and the
travelogue
Greeks, and her commentary is just hysterical. She's constantly talking about her mate Paul. Every time she's interviewing these esteemed scholars, but she's asking them stupid questions about. Okay, we've got pictures of Jesus being crucified and pictures of Jesus as a baby. Did they ever try and get one of him being crucified as a baby? and the woman's looking at her like, I don't think so. And then she goes, well, they really missed an opportunity there, didn't they?
I can see we're giving an amusing half hour. This was the day in 1970. Students at Kent State University had been rioting for 3 days when the National Guard of Ohio was called in.
Shoot them.
The protesters were inflamed about the American invasion of Cambodia. Guardsmen opened fire, 4 dead. Famous picture of the several wounded on the ground and the girl saying why.
Shouldn't throw rocks at people with
don't
guns.
try to burn down the ROTC building,
Don't throw rocks at
Don't
them.
throw rocks at the guys with guns. 1932, Al Capone begins residency here in Atlanta. Address number 40886, the federal pen, 11 years for tax evasion, while he was suffering from syphilis. 1959, the first year of the Grammys. Speaking of Grammys, we mentioned before, National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences, first year in 1959. By the way, there was no TV coverage back then. The first Grammys in 1959, no TV coverage, and they had a ceremony for the first Grammys both in New York and Los Angeles simultaneously because nobody at the Recording Academy said no one's going to travel across country to pick up an award for music. So we'll give one in New York, one in L.A., because they're not going to fly across country for this stupid thing. That was the Grammys in 1959. By the way, on that day, the first one's 1959, the best country performance, the Kingston Trio and Tom Dooley. We were just talking about the Kingston Trio.
We were? Let me find it here.
We were talking about Shane, our little Facebook buddy and a friend of mine who was yelling at me at the intersection in his truck the other day, whose dad was the Scotch and Soda, Mud in Your Eye.
Wait, hold on a second. I got something for you.
I know you did, and that's why I mentioned it. The first Grammy for country music was to the Kingston Trio for Hang Down Your Head, Tom Dooley.
All right, hold on a second.
All right, while you're doing that, also on that very same date, and in 1964, the soap opera Another World premiered on ABC. It ran for 35 seasons and Another World featured Morgan Freeman, Lindsay Lohan, Luke Perry, Brad Pitt, Kelsey Grammer before anyone had ever heard of any of them.
Wow.
Kelsey Grammer, and I have a Kelsey Grammer story, but of course I mentioned it 9 years ago, so I can't say it.
Can't say it. All right, I put a photo of Buzz Capper.
All the people listening 9 years ago obviously are listening right now,
You
so
told-
there's no way I could tell it.
You told the story
Kelsey.
not too long ago.
I know.
All right. I put a picture of Buzz Capper.
I didn't tell the whole story.
good.
I'm sorry. All right, go ahead. All right. Kingston Trio.
I put a photo of Buzz Capper up the other day, the former Braves pitcher.
Yeah.
All right, from the 70s.
I saw that picture on Facebook.
And Jason McCall Shane
Yep.
wrote in.
Yeah. He's
He
our guy.
said that Buzz Capper's parents gave my father a song that became one of his most requested, Scotch and Soda.
Scotch and soda. That's why I mentioned that and put it in the history thing today. And I saw that on Facebook and thought that Jason would get a kick out of that too. Anyway, so that's kind of cool.
What is the difference between Iron Man and Iron Woman?
Boobs.
One is a superhero and the other is a simple command.
Iron Woman. Yeah. That always works.
Kid Rock put this out. Saturn's ring is the second largest ring in the solar system. The largest, of course, is the Hollywood pedophile ring.
Lizzo's bathtub ring. Well, really? I mean, come on.
All right, here's
killing me.
another. Google's inclusive language dossier bans the staff at Google from using terms like man hours, you guys, and chubby.
Chubby?
Jeff, better not have a chubby at your
Ain't
desk.
chubby or that's it. Could be a.
Jonathan says, put 100 women and 10 men on a deserted island. In 100 years, you'll have a thriving community of men, women, boys, and girls. Now put 100 trans women and 10 men on a deserted island. In 100 years, you will find the skeletons of 110 men. Follow me for more science. Although I read something yesterday, scientists have now taken 2 male rats, taken the DNA, whatever they had, and they've made
a girl.
they've made a baby from the 2 men.
And what is a baby? Is a baby androgynous kind of?
I
a deal?
don't
Or
know.
We don't know. I mean, it's like a cloned sheep.
I don't know. In 2017,
That's ridiculous.
70 students drank so much alcohol at a house party in Maryland that the air inside the house registered positive on the breathalyzer. Oh my God. Okay, here's what we mentioned earlier about Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
What's the famous scene in Pulp Fiction where Travolta and Samuel Jackson burst into the room and they're interrogating the guys, and then they both open fire and blow the guy in the chair away?
Say what one more time? Yeah.
Here's what if this had happened in the Middle Ages.
May I take a bite of your tasty burger?
They burst in with crossbows, right?
Okay.
Saith, I beg thy pardon once more henceforth. I beseech ye, I twice beseech ye, layer of thy mother. Saith, I beg thy pardon just one more Lord forsaken time.
Lord forsaken. I lay my hands upon thee.
All right, what would you rather do in the middle of the night? This is a Twitter.
All right, I already have an
Poll.
answer. Oh, sorry.
Walk in the woods.
Yeah.
Walk into a haunted house.
Yeah.
Walk into a cave, or walk in a graveyard.
In the middle of the night,
Yep.
woods or I'll take
Haunted
graveyard.
house, woods, cave, graveyard.
I'll take
Graveyard.
graveyard because there's probably nothing walking around in the graveyard, but God knows what's
It's
going
not
on in the
safe,
woods.
as we found when I fell into the open
well,
grave that time.
If everything's pitch
That's because you
black,
weren't paying
then
attention.
I wasn't. I was drunk too. I was drunk. Wayne was.
Well, I
Wayne
don't-
never
I
has
would
stopped
definitely
laughing.
not go in a haunted house. You're asking for it.
Wayne said, so we're running and running and running because someone said they'd heard something on the other side of the grave. We're running. It was out in Lawrenceville, and we're running. It said, all of a sudden I turn around, you're gone.
He's in the
It's
pit.
in the grave. 60% said they'd be in the graveyard.
Yeah.
20% in the woods, 15% in the house, and just 5% said they'd go into a cave. That's just probably smart.
Caves, not. You don't want to go in. You're just too many. Well, first thing you go in a cave. Well, it could. What if it falls? What if all of a
Bears.
sudden now it's the time for it to collapse?
Bears, snakes, whatever you want in there.
I mean, yeah.
Pumas. All right, sibling trauma. You think you had sibling trauma
I
when
had
you
a
were
little
growing
sibling
up?
trauma a couple of times. Yeah.
Michael Jackson died a few days before my 7th birthday. My sister told me that they sent him a photo of my face to sign for my birthday, and when he saw how ugly I was, he dropped dead. So I believed that I had killed Michael
Whole
Jackson.
life.
Remember Oliver Reed? the
Yeah,
actor?
absolutely. The British actor.
The last thing he was in was Gladiator.
Teeth kind of a deal thing.
He was in Gladiator. He was in the Three Musketeers. He was
Very,
Athos.
very well known act. Yeah.
Typical British of the 60s and 70s.
70s,
Drank. Well, here's what happened. Remember, he died during Gladiator. He died during
do
the
not remember
movie,
that.
during
Yeah.
the filming of it. 1999, they were in Malta filming. He had consumed 8 pints of beer, 12 shots of rum, half a bottle of whiskey, and shots of cognac Why did he do this?
In one sitting?
And we're talking, he was like in the 70s at this point. Yeah, in one sitting in a bar. In
Why
his
did
70s.
he do it? Probably a bet.
He had challenged.
Ridiculous freaking bet.
He had challenged sailors from the HMS Cumberland to a drinking contest.
Oh, my God.
He then, after he beat them in the drinking contest, he defeated several of the sailors in arm wrestling before collapsing.
Holy, what a way to go, though.
But yeah, if you'd
What a
asked
great
him, how do you
story.
want to go?
Yeah, I'd rather be like 92, but still, yeah, I wouldn't want to be 71 or whatever.
Okay, Dave says, I went to sign my dog up for welfare.
No.
They said he's not eligible.
No.
I said, he's lazy, unemployed, and doesn't know whose daddy is. He gets a check next week.
$4.85 every week.
Steven says, I'm a pretty nice person, but I also realized that if there were an asshole championship,
Yeah.
I would place respectfully in my weight division. And I think that's all I have
There you go.
for that.
There,
Let me check. One whole second.
Anything with a
Oh,
thing there? Any
oh, one more thing. Jeff Hullinger posted this.
Yeah.
A man named Mike Reeves died in his sleep at age 70 the other night.
All right.
You might know this guy. He helped found Mellow Mushroom Pizza,
Oh, yeah.
the Cotton Club there in Peachtree,
No, yeah.
Excelsior Mill, Smith's Old Bar, which is
Wow,
still at
that's pretty-
Ansley.
wow.
He was also pretty much a lot behind the Fox Brothers Barbecue.
I'll be damned.
And he did a buttload of work for Toys for Tots.
What's his name?
Mike Reeves. Mike Reeves.
Say how old he was?
70.
Wow. You know that now I'll bet I know that name from the Toys for Tots.
Yeah,
Among
you
other
probably
things.
met him.
I'll
I bet you
I'll
did
bet I
meet
do.
him
I'll
at some
bet I
point.
do.
I bet I ran into him
That
all
name-
those
the name-
bars.
if I saw his face, I'd probably recognize him.
All right, I'll show
Has
you.
he got
his
a- he's got a
face.
picture in there?
Yeah. He reminds me of. He looks like Tom Houck. Is who
No, that reminds me.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I realize.
Yeah, you suck.
You know,
one.
in fact, when I first, let me tell you a story. A reminder story. When I first got here, all right, first let me see this picture.
All right, there you go.
Oh, I think I have. He does look familiar. 70. That's way too young.
Looks like Hal.
When one of the first weeks I got here, my starter wife and I and our little daughter Jennifer had just been born in graduate school, and we moved to Atlanta in June of 1972. Lived up in Roswell, and I, at the time I was working for a radio station, and I was the morning news guy, and used to be on with Bob Ketchersid and Aubrey Morris, and I was a morning news guy. So I'd go into work at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and they assigned me a news car. So I had my own big Ford Fairlane 4-door 500 with a walkie-talkie in it and a transmitter and a repeater. Remember the repeaters, walkie-talkies with repeaters? They had to go 10-4, repeater 1004, 1004, repeater 1004, calling. You know, it's unbelievable. Been long before phones. And so one morning on the way to work at like 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm driving down the road, and a cop pulls me over. Going down Roswell Road into Sandy Springs, a cop pulls me over, comes up to the car, he says, hey, real secretive like, he says, hey, and it was a marked news car who had to call in or something. He says, hey, just thought you'd like to know, we just pulled over Tom Houck for drunk driving. And at the time, I didn't know who Tom Houck was. I was brand new. I was here like a week or something. But it was the cops among themselves said, we got him again, you know, which I thought was pretty freaking amusing. And I said, oh, you did? I'll be damned.
I'm shocked they found him outside the perimeter.
Well, there you are. Yeah, this was like 1972.
All right, while Flounder finds us our things, here is a truly tasteless joke, too tasteless to even be in this book.
Well, we're warning you. I could have done the Mexican one.
Why do husbands abuse their wives?
Because they can? I don't know.
Why not?
Why? Oh, hey. That's what she said.
Let's see. What's
How come it's not the other way
Oh,
around?
these
I
are really
found
bad.
after
Have you
19
found it
years.
yet there?
Yes,
Flounder?
April 25th. It's the picture with the dumb-looking model guy.
All right.
It's
we
an
may have to
interview.
do two for today. Okay, as interviewer and the guy, what do you want?
I'll be the interviewer.
All right.
Can you type fast?
Yes, that and many other words. Is that enough? Or you want to do another one?
You got one
All right,
more?
a boyfriend and a girlfriend. Which one are you going to be?
I'll be the boyfriend.
All right, the boyfriend's talking to the girlfriend.
How many men have you slept with?
Only you.
Really? Are you serious?
Sure. Everyone else kept me up all night.
How many men you been with, honey? 7. So I'm number 7. No, you're number 4. I'm sorry. It's totally different.
All right, one more. Doctor and patient. You got it? All right, hold on a second. Doctor and patient.
Alrighty, I'll be the patient.
You sure? All right. Don't screw it. Okay.
Well, I'll be the doctor.
No. You be the patient. I've got nothing but confidence in you and very little of that.
I know you can do it.
All right. I've got 2 bits of bad news.
What are they?
You have cancer and Alzheimer's.
Wow, that's bad. At least I don't have cancer.
Or Alzheimer's. Boys, have a great weekend. Any plans of anything unusual and happy?
Well, it's Cinco de Mayo, man.
Cinco
You
de
got to
Mayo's
eat Mexican
well,
at some point. Margarita.
But isn't it? I talked about
Virgin.
I do not feel lonely. I mean, I get a thing. But the fact is, I can no more by myself.
In fact, you call me every night to tell me how
lonely I am. I can no more imagine me going someplace by myself where people are having fun.
Why not?
Happy.
People do it all the time. They're out partying. They'll put a hat on you. You get a margarita. Next thing you know, you're talking to people.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's
I'm
the
not
problem
good with people.
right there.
That's the issue. That kind of goes.
I oversold it.
Narrows it down pretty good there. Oh, I thought it was. I love meeting a girl. I thought it was just going to be you and me. I didn't know there were all these other people are going to be. Oh yeah, I used to be a wordsmith.
Don't call people call them witnesses.
Yeah. Anyway, Flounder, family stuff. I'm guessing, and
just chilling. Not much.
Okie dokie. All right,
What else
boys.
is going on this weekend?
Well, we got the
Braves are back in town. They're playing the Orioles.
I want
Actually,
to
I'm
see
going
the
to-
Orioles.
I'm
Well,
actually-
the Orioles are supposed to have.
I'm actually going to the game Sunday with
Ah.
my family.
I'll put some video and we'll do a little.
Yeah, absolutely.
put it in-
It's an 11:45 game.
In the
on
morning?
Sunday.
Yeah, it's a Sunday game. It's kids sunglass day, so they're giving out kids sunglasses. So I'm assuming maybe it's because of an early game.
Yeah. Well,
Gosh, they never
it
start
gets them
before.
home by 4 though.
Well, I'm sure it's like a noon, but the ticket says I think
Oh, it's a
11:45.
nooner on Saturday.
Oh hell! Ooh, hey. Yeah.
There's something else going on. I can't remember what it was. What's something big besides Cinco de Mayo? There's something this weekend. Oh, Kentucky Derby.
Kentucky Derby Saturday.
Yeah, Kentucky
Yeah.
Derby part. I used to always watch it with my mother. She loved watching that for some
Really?
reason. The
Cool.
hats and
Yeah.
all that stuff. Yeah.
Well, and they sing "My Old Kentucky Home" and have the mint juleps, and it's just it's a tradition.
It's a party.
One of the few that are still there.
I always think of Jeff Van Note because he
Note
always
is Kentucky,
would go.
University
Yeah.
of Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, boys. I hope. God bless America. Hoorah. Herp. Look out.